3 in here now. I do it a little bit different than Chris Albrecht. I don't bring him in and then crop out the first part for the podcast. I just fire up another stream. Hey, Struggle Berman, Irish Outlaw, Hoosier Garage, how y'all doing? I posted the link, and y'all want to jump in for a minute, you're welcome to. I just thought, why not? You can. I figured I would can the regular stream, try to separate it from social live. Yeah, Stephen Oates, that's the deal. Just why not? This is less formal. This is just a random social live because I can. Nobody else was live, so I thought, well, yeah, why not? So the link is pinned if anybody wants to get in. Stephen Oates, you're going to get your 500 subs, though. Would you look at that? We have Adam. What's going on, man?
Not much, John. How about you?
Haven't had you on here in a long time. This is cool.
Yeah, it's been about a minute and a half.
Yeah, I'm going to just unpin the link now. No, I'm glad you're on here.
Yeah, I got to work this weekend, so I'm just taking some time before I jump in bed. So it's just kind of relaxing time, and this is relaxing to me. So
yeah, let's just hang out.
Yeah, what's going on tonight?
Not much. It's we just had our last live, to prepare for NNN with Dallas.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of that.
This is just random social live.
Cool.
So
good deal.
And we have Big Mike of the Hoopty Barn. What's going on, man?
What's up, folks?
Just it might be a random social live, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have guardrails. This live, we don't swear and talk about nasty stuff and any of that stuff. And we still have, some standards of decorum here, but this live you can come and hang out.
Yeah, keep it on the rails.
That's it. And look at this. It's full of gentlemen tonight. This is great.
What's going on, everybody?
Andy,
all the guys with the white hats.
You could not look any older than was sitting in that rocking chair on the porch.
I'm just killing time.
You're just waiting for those headers to get done.
Yeah.
Well, hey, speaking of headers, guys, I got the headers on my van the other day. If you want to install headers on a vehicle and it'd be easy, pick out one of them old Dodge vans. It was in about 15 minutes.
See, that's what I want to do. I want to put headers on mine.
Oh, yeah. Easy.
Okay.
Easy.
Good to know.
I was at
the engine of the van's 3 inches to the passenger side.
Mm-hmm.
So you didn't run into anything with that?
The passenger side was super easy. I had to go in from the top, so I slid the passenger seat back, stuck the collector on in, and I mean you could probably go in from the bottom with the oil filter off, but I'm lazy, so I just went in through and it hooked it around it, and it hooked on there. And then the driver's side, it's real close, so I had to go up from underneath and I had to pivot one of them on the water jacket stud, and then swing it up and around, and then it hooked right up on there, and then we were good.
I'm glad you told me that because I want to put headers on that 85, and it should be the same chassis. So,
yeah, they should be the same. Edmund headers.
That's just like Andy, cheap and easy header work, right?
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, I didn't see nothing cheap about all that.
Oh,
it's
man.
giving me an ulcer, is what it's giving me.
I like to show little sneak previews with permission, of course. I don't want to spoil anybody's content. But if I get permission to show just a real small sneak preview, I hope people will go to their channels and say, oh, man, that's cool. I didn't know you were doing that or whatever. So I'm glad.
Hopefully I'll have it back in my possession by Monday or Tuesday.
Okay, that's great.
So
this Monday.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. So I'm leaving. I'm going to leave on Tuesday next week because we have a ton to do over there.
Yeah, I imagine you do.
I have a feeling that Thursday is going to wind up getting really jammed up.
Yeah.
So I think Wednesday's going to be the day to hammer it. So I'm going to leave here on Tuesday. But I'll tell you what, if you want, I might be able to squeeze a day and come down and pitch in and do whatever you need.
I've got Micah. I've done got Micah and the rest of the crew. I done told them, I said, it's time.
Yeah.
I need your help.
Because a lot of it is stuff that only you can do, like unique stuff to the build of the truck, right? I get that. And then there's other stuff that might just be, man, this hour I'm spending cleaning parts it's got to be done. But
we passed all that. It's pliers o'clock, John. We're not cleaning parts. It's coming the way it's coming.
Yeah,
it's going on grease and all. Right?
Yeah.
Well, cool. It's pliers o'clock. We used that not long ago. I had to explain what that was to Dallas. Pliers o'clock. Rob, streetcars here.
What's Mike got going on? What's going on at the Hoopty Barn?
Well, we got some new some, as RC industry would say, just like brand used wheels on the Hoopty. We went to Pull It, and we got some wheels for the Hoopty. So I had to change the wheels because in changing out that front end and that rear end out of that Dodge Charger and putting them up underneath that 51 Coronet, the rear end is wider, and the size of that that caliper on the front, I can't run 14s at all on there. They will not go over that front caliper, and I had to get a different offset on the back because the rear end's wider, because those keystones I had on there were rubbing on the inside of the fender. So I went and I got some, like I said, some just like brand used wheels. And I put a little 3-minute video up today of my wheels. I'll give you guys a sneak peek. I did my center caps.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Like it.
Yeah. So, yeah, they turned out all right. They look pretty slick. So, yeah, I finally got it down on the ground again, ready to start driving. And tomorrow I'm putting the lettering on there. So,
hey, that cap looks just as good as some of these wheel companies that I've never heard of. At least it looks way better than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's the Hoopty, so I'm making it my own.
Yeah, good deal.
But yeah, like I said, tomorrow I'm wanting to get started on my lettering because I'm kind of wanting to set it up like some of the old NASCAR back like 50s, 60s,
hand lettered,
late 50s, early 60s, like the old Hudson Hornets and stuff like that. And I'm going to start.
Got like a drop shadow behind it, and then
that would be awesome.
I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do it yet, but I've got some stencil and stuff, and I'm going to start working on it tomorrow and see how it turns out, and I've already got my number picked out and all that. So
just study some old school pictures and draw you some parallel lines and go at it.
Right. See, and I've got an old Hot Wheels Hudson Hornet, old stock car like that. That was kind of my inspiration on there. Okay. So, yeah.
I like that.
And I'm, as much as I'm looking forward to the No Name Nationals, I'm kind of looking forward to getting back home so I can get started on Mom's car. I bought my wife that 66 Charger, and I'm looking forward to getting started on that. That's going to be her Sunday driver, and
that'll be a fun car.
Yeah, it's a super cool car. It's got the Poly 318 with the 3 on the tree. And I was Steve Maggs actually messaged me back about it. I messaged him on a couple things, and he told me that he saw one other one that he almost bought in Palmdale, California in 2007, and that's the only other one he's seen with that Poly 318 with the 3 on the tree. So Well, and they only made 34,000 total, so I'm sure of, and that was with, the 318, and they also had a 3-speed automatic too, and then they had the 4-speed, and then they had 383 cars, and they had a handful of 426 Hemis.
What many?
No, it was just a little small handful. But they had a lot of 383 cars, with 4 speeds and 727s. But
I always thought that was the standard engine in the 66 Charger.
Yeah, the Poly
318,
yeah, but with the 3 on the tree, it said most of them. He said most people opted for either the 3-speed automatic or the 4-speed if they were getting the 318. So they said that it was just the least desirable.
Yeah.
So now, with it being, more rare, I guess it would make it more desirable. I don't know. We'll see. But I got a really great deal on that car. It sat in a barn for 22 years. And I went over there and I talked to the guy. I've drove past it 1,000 times. I didn't even know it was in my neighbor's barn 2 miles down the road.
Wow.
And one of my other neighbors told me about it. So I had to go and talk to him about it. And got it started and all that. Had to disconnect, from the real fuel, the regular fuel system, because that's just all varnish. And I'm not putting nothing through that, and put
Smells
that.
wonderful too.
What's that?
It's got to smell wonderful too.
Oh yeah. So we just put a little small 1-gallon tank up in the front and ran the fuel out of that, man, and that sucker fired right up. I was amazed. But
I bet your engine was quiet too, wasn't it? It
was. It wasn't that bad. I mean, I expected a clattering and this and that and, smoke and all that. The worst part of it was when I went to move it, the brakes were frozen up. It's got the 4-wheel drum brakes, and brakes were pretty well locked up. I had to rock it back and forth quite a few times to get it to actually break loose and move. But I drove it up on the trailer and drove it off the trailer. So,
can't beat that.
Yeah, and I figured, well, for $3,500,
I kind of like to have one stuck drum when I'm loading the car. I can slide it up there and then use it as a parking brake when I slide it off.
Maybe use it
with the Roadrunner.
Yeah, well, whatever works.
Roadrunner.
Well, he's talking about that stuck caliper earlier. It made me think of that the parts car dark swinger I got here a while back. It was hard to push, but we couldn't figure out why. Because it would move, but then I got the wheels off the front and I realized they had 14-inch wheels and they was just dragging right on top of that caliper.
Oh yeah.
And it would come around and it wasn't completely honestly round, so it'd come around and go.
Oh man.
Back
Yeah.
You know what? That's a great explanation for a service writer. Tell us what problem you're having there, Mr. Hoosier. Well,
but only once as it goes round.
Yeah, you gotta.
Keep driving it, it'll clearance itself out.
Yeah, it'll. You'd say, well, how did you fix that? Well, I machined the edge off without using the machine.
I'll show you this. Here's my granddaughter. She just got home with Grandma Gigi. Got a Happy Meal.
Oh,
ain't she a pretty?
Yeah.
How's it going?
They just went to the horsey auction and went and looked at horsies. So, anyway, that's what we're doing tonight.
Is Chickens up?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that the owner of the Charger?
Yes, that is the owner of the Charger. Yeah, that is the owner of the guy.
The Hoopty barn.
Yeah. Yeah. So
So how's you gonna tell me how does that work out with buying your wife a car? Because I just did that recently and buying her an old car.
Yeah. Well, she wasn't as keen on it until, she really got to looking at it and how unique it is. And, and it grew on her.
Come on,
Yeah.
It grew on her. I mean, that fastback, there's just something about a fastback, whatever it is.
You don't
Whether it's a
see
Mustang or
66 Chargers. You know what I'm saying?
what's that?
You just don't really see 66 Chargers.
Yeah.
Not around
yeah,
here.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
Well,
I've
We got a
seen.
few in our local junkyard. That's about the only place I see them anymore.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is that 4-bucket seats with the console that goes all the way from the front to the back.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Yeah.
Well, the gauges, the way the gauges light up too on those are
Right.
real.
Yeah. It's
like
not
indigo
it's not
gauges.
like individual lights.
Yeah.
I don't know, honey. We can't watch that right now. I'm on the live right now. Sorry. We're gonna have to keep that quiet for now. All right. Thank you. You're such a sweet girl. She's a good girl. So what happened to our other one? Where's Mario?
Oh, he's still in the car.
Oh, okay.
They're still.
My grandson is still out there, I guess, and the other two are with my daughter.
Hey, John,
Yes, sir.
is Luke Hart coming?
Yes. Luke Corder's registered.
That is. He's bringing the Pontiac.
I don't know.
Hey,
which
Or is he
Ryan.
bringing the AMX?
Hey, guys.
Ryan's in the house. So I got a call from Mrs. Dust Devil. I think they wanted to talk about the commercial they're working on. But I thought, oh man, is Brian live? And I didn't know it because usually he reaches out to me so that I can help send people over. But I looked, didn't see anybody live. And then I come back on my screen, I see Ryan. So I hope you hadn't been waiting long.
Yeah, a couple minutes. No big deal.
I didn't know. I wasn't able to look at my screen. So sorry about that.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me on.
I see you in the world headquarters with the small whiteboard. That's cool.
It's empty room in the basement. That's about it.
You should change a number on the whiteboard just to see if anybody notices.
Yeah, those are dino numbers. But yeah,
That's what I'm saying. You just change it and
Yeah.
see if anybody notices.
just add something to the board every time I show up.
Well, there you go.
But the fun with Ryan's numbers is he has so many cars that you don't know what that car is. So that's
There you
that's the trivial thing of it.
Just
Well,
never know.
That engine that made that power was supposed to go into one car, and then that plan got canceled. And now it's in a different car, and it's
I like fixing on it garage. I like that name. There's somebody used to have a fixing to garage. We're fixing to do it.
How do you turn this on?
LB's asking if you need a flux capacitor, Andy. I think you might.
I do. I need 88 miles an hour to go back in time.
Hey, now I'm gonna jump in here and speak for the No Name Nationals fan. It's a little behind the times, but I need an update. Andy, who are you racing at this current time? Who will you be racing? I feel like
I am racing just Mopar Joe,
Okay.
Thumper the Sweaty Fat Guy,
Okay.
John Cope,
What did you say so fast?
Brian from Lunar Outlaw,
hmm
and I'm thinking about, we was talking about it the other night, Streetcar Chronicles.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Hey, Colleen.
But
is-
I'm gonna be honest. I gotta make a trip down the track. I'll be happy
Yeah.
with that.
And I'm hoping you got time to cool the car down before each race because there's quite a few going on there.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Colleen, is your son? Is he at work? I know it's Friday, so just depends on what the schedule is. He'd be welcome to jump in.
It's gonna be fun.
that-
That's what I'm looking forward to, is meeting everybody.
That little
Yeah,
super
that's the
Brian.
big thing for me. It's just, I'm going to be racing 318 will run, but that's just going to be kind of kind of a clown action circus race, but you know, seeing everybody in person is kind of the connection for me.
Mhm.
Wearing the 318 Will Run colors, and Tim didn't even show up tonight.
Yeah. So we know what side John's on.
LB,
I don't
gates
know.
open at 8 a.m. both days.
I don't even know the state of any of my races or availabilities even. So
I guess we'll figure it out when we get there.
Well, Ryan, the thing
we'll
to do
see.
is just, you know, come out, hang with your fellow content creators. If you get a car there, you get a car there.
right.
If it's not everything you want it to be, that's fine. If it's just running, just come out and make a pass, just whatever.
Oh yeah. Well, the chances as it sits right now, I think there's a decent chance of me and my dad being able to make it there and show up. I think there's a reasonable chance of that happening. And we had intended to go the whole time, but with everything just going on, and next thing you know, you got one thing leads to the next, and you know, things get tight, and then not going to make any excuses. Everybody knows how it goes sometimes. And then, you know, run out of time working on one car and then another car, and it just got to be a lot going on at once. And I think there's a reasonable chance that there's going to be a car brought. I don't know that it'll be the Super B. Might be bringing a Roadrunner. Don't know, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Obviously, 2 weeks left. Not a lot of time to get it done, but we'll see what we can
done
put
is a
together.
relative term too. I mean, Andy's truck is not going to be done. It'll be running.
That's right.
It might be running in a place where it can make a good pass. It might be more done than we thought he could get it. You never know. Done is such a relative term. In fact, I think most people's projects are going to be in some state of completion that was probably less than what they'd hoped for in May.
Oh yeah,
But they'll be there. Like I'll tell you, old Dust Devil Brian, he said his Duster's going to be there, and if they have to do a push race down the track with team of 4 pushing that car down the track, he wants to make it down the track. I'm like, well, that's great, man. That's the spirit. So if they have to push it down the track, that's one thing. If it can start up and idle down the track, that's another. If it can make a pass, that's another still. So,
oh yeah. I mean, it's just when it comes to my initial plan versus what's kind of available now is my initial plan was to bring the 69 Super B with the 440 that made the 500 horse, 550 torque, and I thought it'd be a pretty good contender to put up some decent numbers and put up a couple decent races.
well,
That being
doesn't the
said,
Roadrunner run?
I have 2 of them now. Both run. If one's going, it would be the 1971 we just got. That's if plans don't change for that, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But
What's the Super B need?
Super B needs quite a bit. It doesn't really need that much, but it needs a lot of little things that all add up to a lot of time.
Have you got to put a front end on it?
Yeah.
Me and you are in the same boat.
Well, I have everything to put it together. It's just getting time to get everything squared away, and I'm taking a car that hasn't run in 30 plus years and trying to make it run and drive. And what I mean by that is, you know, the suspension is questionable. So obviously it would be good enough to at least make a pass or something, but last thing I want to do is break something in the process. But we'll see how it goes. No, I don't want that trophy. Really don't want that trophy.
Well, are you trailering it down?
Yeah, it would be trailered down.
Then just go for it.
Yeah, we'll see. I've been having a hard time finding a windshield for it though, so.
You don't have to have a windshield to run. You just would have to have a visor.
Put you some goggles on and go for it.
Seriously.
Yeah, I just think your thing, Ryan, is focus. And I mean, at your age, when you have that much availability of vehicles, you're going to want to this one. It's like it's all rolling in front of you. There's too much minutia. So I think
Well,
just figure out which
Awesome.
one that has the best potential right now, and then just like zero in on that for 2 weeks, and then just bring it
yeah,
on.
I was focused on the Super B. I was on track to get it going. Everything was going all right. I did get
You
fired up.
bought another car.
And then along comes a 1973 Barracuda. Then I spent like 4 days screwing with that and found out the timing chains probably jumped on and I can't get it to run worth a crap. And then not even a week later, a 71 Roadrunner shows up. Now I've been working on that for the past couple of days. So,
They follow you home, buddy.
yeah, too many of them.
Well, hopefully you'll find a front end wrecked 66. 'Cause I still need that tail light lens for that 66 Charger. Remember I hit you up about a tail light lens for the 66 Charger?
Yeah.
'Cause that one,
That
it's
stuff is-
busted. It's
that
busted
stuff is
pretty
tough
bad. I
to
mean,
get.
gosh, they're tough to find.
I saw some at one of our local Mopar swap meets, but I think the guy had the whole entire, this was a few months back, but the guy had the whole entire thing from one side to the other, and it was, you know, probably 9 out of 10 quality. One side had a little chip in it, but the guy wanted like $800 for it, and I was like,
Yeah.
geez.
Well, they want $600, almost $700 for a repop lens, just the lens. And
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Crazy.
for a repop, and I'm just like, nah, I don't think. And then on eBay, there's one up here in Springfield, Missouri. The guy wants $500 for it, but it's got a horizontal and a vertical crack in it. And it's just like, oh, dude. I mean, and it's like gapped. It ain't just a split. I mean, it's a crack and it's gapped. You know, I mean,
Jeez.
and he wants $500 for it, and I'm like, dude, seriously?
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, I got a question for Mr. Ryan there.
Yep.
All right. I don't know how well you can see this. In this kind of shape, okay?
Yep.
Little pitted, little rough, nothing show shape. That's probably the best of the bunch.
Is that a Duster taillight bezel?
That's a Dart Sport taillight.
Dart
bezel.
Sport. Yeah.
Four
Same
of
thing.
them.
Not the same thing, but same kind of thing.
Well, yeah, but you know what I'm talking. It's a 73 to about 74. I think 75.6 used a panel. Here's about
Right.
the roughest one. Right there.
Yep. Chewed up on the edges a bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Okay, what are 4 of those worth?
You don't deal in A bodies, John.
I don't know. I don't deal in A bodies much, but between the 4 of them, I mean, I wouldn't pay $100 for them, but that's just me.
I was
Yeah.
thinking about the same as you.
You know, I mean, I just don't get around on A body stuff, but I know guys that have a bunch of A body stuff. If you need something, let me know. I can get it for you, probably. But like, I've got a friend that owns a yard in South Dakota, and he's got, I don't know how many Dart Sports and Duster style cars out there that they got. Probably 20 of them.
John, I'll check that junkyard. He's got one Dart Sport sitting off in the very back, and it might be a little pitted, but I'll see what
Yeah.
we got on it.
Pitted is okay because my car, it had the bezels, but they were painted. They
Yeah.
were painted body color. That's just how they painted the car. I'm going to put it back like it ran. So I wouldn't want to take really nice ones and paint them.
Hmm.
But the cat that has these is looking for $200 for these 4. And I'm like,
Jeez.
that's a lot for bezels. You know?
If those ones are on that car, I can get them for probably $25. So maybe-
I was thinking, I had a guy price me some for $50 for a set of 4 one time.
that would be
You know,
better.
and they were in pitted condition about like this. And I know things, but you know, $200 for a set of bezels. I mean, when I was in high school, that whole car was $200.
Yeah.
Well, the problem with that, with those taillight bezels, and they use the same material all the way back to mid-early 60s, you know,
Yeah.
whatever that pot metal is, whatever that material they use, it sucks.
Yeah, it does.
It pits so terribly, and it
That's what they
really,
make the center
And the
cap.
Sports seem worse. The Sports seem worse for some reason. I don't know if it's their size, but the Duster was the same line, the same shape, but they just was one big rectangle. But the Sports was
Right.
in 2 sections. But they seem to have been worse because I had 2 Dart Sports, and they was the most pitted up things ever. And Yeah, but then a couple dusters I had, it was manageable. You know, it's weird. Just like
I bought a 72 Duster, a rusty 72 Duster one time, 318, had rallies on it. I paid $100 for the car. Okay. Paid $100 for the car. I sold the 318 and the 904 out of it for $150. I sold the wheels off of it for $100. I did some trading for the bucket seat, had bucket seats in it. I sold a door for $25. I mean, I doubled the money on the car and I kept the wheels and trim rings for myself.
there you go.
I mean, there was just a time that was a thing that was common.
Yeah, the
Yep.
parts back then was worth a lot more than the car itself, which is strange.
Yeah,
And now it's kind of the other way around. Like the car, if it's all together, it's worth more than the parts are.
yeah.
Right. Depending on the car.
Yeah, it depends on the car. Now, when I bought my 72 over a year ago, I paid $1,500 and it came with really nice taillights. So I figured half of that was for the taillights.
I have
Yeah.
a set of 72 Duster taillights still. I think they're in
Are
halfway.
the
decent
70
shape.
are the 72s pretty tough to get?
Yeah, they were 1 year old.
1 year
Oh,
old.
yeah.
Real long.
There's a duster in a yard that I go to that's got just about perfect taillights and a perfect tail panel on it, pretty much.
He said it. The dog said it.
What year is it?
72.
So they're worth grabbing.
That's worth money.
Yeah.
Your dog's like,
I wish I would have known about it before you bought the tail panel for your car, Adam, because I would have gone out there and cut it off and send it to you.
It's okay. We're doing pretty good on ours, just showing everybody how it goes.
Oh yeah, that car is looking good. Can't wait for you to get working on the 71.
Yeah, hopefully we can get a flow going, get the Duster on its wheels. Probably when I get it on its wheels, at least, then we can kind of start divvying up a little bit. Because
I just can't wait to see that 71 Satellite take shape. I mean, back when I bought that car, that I just saw it and I was like, this thing has a lot of potential.
Yeah, I remember you considered building that, and it's one of the few cars that I've had. Well, I say it's for my wife, but she wanted a purple or pink car. Well, it's purple, and it's one of the few cars where I say, appearance-wise, you can go back the way it came, completely.
Right?
Down to
You
the
know,
stripe,
and I
all that stuff.
I sold it to Jim Bennett, and then I got the call from his estate saying, you know, you want it back, and I was like, I got too much going on. I don't want it back. I don't need it back. And they're like, okay, well, do you know anybody that would probably want one? And me and you had been talking about, you know, you might want a 71, 72 B-body, and I'm like, there we go, and you're somewhat close by to it, so.
Yeah, and the other guys here in the audience doesn't know the story on that. I'm usually pretty conservative with my words, but you said, hey, I found your B-body, and I'm like, I was kind of half serious. I said, well, if there's a good deal, I'll grab it. I'll take it. And I was kind of half joking, but when you told me how much they was asking for it, I was like, yeah, I got to go get that car. I got to get it.
Hey, Dean is asking Andy a question, I guess, about the max wedge valve degree. Is it 18 degree head? I think it is.
Yeah, I don't think they rolled the angle on the heads on the max wedge stuff.
No, they were 18 degree.
This is my daughter, everyone. This
Howdy.
is Kaylee.
Hello.
How's
There.
it going?
Good. How are you guys?
We're doing good tonight.
Reasonably well. Good.
Yeah, she came down to stay with us for a couple of weeks and visit, and brought all my grandkids down and my to-be son-in-law, Chance.
Howdy.
How's it going?
I don't know if I should call him first chance or last chance. You know what I mean? But that's all right. They're good kids.
Second chance.
Second chance.
That's what my son's name is.
I bring your shoes in my
Well, that's what his son's name is, the second chance. I just was emailing someone here in the comments, asked me if I'd checked out Taillight King and Fixing on It Garage. They'd asked me if I'd checked out Taillight King. I hadn't, but I just emailed them and told them what I was looking for. So I guess we'll see if perhaps I get a lead on a taillight lens for that car. I just know they're hard to come by.
Yeah.
But
in the 4 or 5 years, whatever we've been doing parts now, I don't think we've ever even had any.
really,
What side is it again, Mike?
what's that?
What side is it again? Or is it one of the left or
Taillight
right?
King.
No, I mean that you need. Which part do you need?
Oh no, the whole thing, because it's
Oh, you need the whole
busted
thing.
on. It's busted on both sides, and the center's busted, and both sides are busted at the center. It looked like they backed into something, or something fell and hit it. I mean, it looks more like something fell and hit it because there's no dents or anything in the car at all. It looks more like something fell against it and hit it or something and broke it out. And there's, some of the pieces are inside the housing there, but not all of them. I don't know.
Well, when I go check on John's taillight bezels, I'll check those chargers that they have there. There's maybe
Man.
3 of them, and I don't recall seeing the taillights, but I'll give it a look because if they got any, it'll help you out, I'm sure.
Right on. Yeah, I'll tell you, I know it's going to be an expensive little endeavor, but not really, not too bad. The most expensive thing is I'm kind of teetering. I found a cast iron dual 4-barrel intake for it. The guy wants $600 for it, but I think it would be so cool to set that thing up with 2 4-barrels on that old Poly 318. Even though Mama's just driving it on Sunday.
There we go. That's what I meant to do. I thought that it was the first layout button would do this. No, it's the second one. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, we had a whole discussion on the way home.
Hey, Andy, is DV still looking like good to come?
I'm going over to his house tomorrow, so hopefully I'll have us a definitive answer.
All right. Let me know if I can help.
We'll do it. Guys, I'm going to hop off from here. The girls are wanting to go watch Cobra Kai, so I told them I'd watch it with them.
Sounds
so family
good,
time.
Yeah, I'm going to hop off here too. I got to get in bed. So
see you, buddy. Thanks for joining.
Good seeing y'all.
Y'all have a good night, man.
take care, everybody.
All right.
All right, and then there was 3.
Okay, now we're squished up. I gotta check it out. There we go. Okay, so that button I had it on works to do this with 3, but doesn't with 5. And the 2 layout button is not squished with. It's different for however many people are in there. Oh, goodness.
Too many buttons.
Yeah.
Can't they just have like an autofill button that makes it whatever you want? It's like,
no. But but see, it looks weird when you do this. See, I don't like that.
yeah,
That's funky. I don't.
a little bit too close.
Yeah, I was a little too close to him. I think he felt my beard.
Yeah, it's always good to have them on there.
Yeah,
Max
I'm pretty.
Page says every car ought to have 2 4s. I don't disagree with that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was one thing that's been kind of debated on the 440 that I have for the Super B that's in the car now. But see, the quick story on that car is on the engine. I bought the engine. It was sitting on a guy's garage floor. He said he pulled it out of a 70 Roadrunner. He never really ran it. He never messed with it. The guy just was restoring a car and wanted to go back with a 383 or whatever. Pull it apart. It's got 6-pack rods, a 540 lift cam, and 6-pack style high compression pistons and all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, well, what the heck? And he said that the guy actually ran a tunnel ram on it, but he sold the tunnel ram off of it. So I've contemplated seeing if a 2.4 would actually put a little more power than it did, but I don't know. I think the single 4 will be fine for it for now.
Well, you see, mine has the 2-barrel intake, and someone put an adapter plate on there and an Edelbrock 4-barrel, and it, I mean, it does okay, but I even might just go to a single 4-barrel intake. But I would really like to put that dual 4 on there. I was talking with Ed Barber today, Daniel Barber, Redbeard Racing, his dad. I was talking to him on the phone today about it, and we were discussing, horsepower versus cubic inches and weight. If you're going to do it for just an economy car, how you should have enough horsepower to easily move the vehicle, but obviously the more if you go too much horsepower, then you're killing your fuel economy too, and so I don't know.
It's miles per gallon.
Yeah, I mean, if it's just going to be a occasional drive or whatever, I don't guess it really matters either way. I just want the 2.4 set up for the cool factor,
right?
Because you just don't see it.
Yeah, be a little different if it was something that you're trying to take out multi-100-mile runs. Then
right. Well, and the thing is that sets so low with that cast iron intake.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all under the hood, really easy. It all sits down really low because it's just flat.
Yeah. My uncle, or my great uncle, has a 66 Coronet with a Poly 318. I think that's got a 4-barrel on it.
Yeah.
I know those Poly 318 intakes are hard to get.
Yeah. Well, and Ed said that his buddy had one that he would sell for $125. So that's reasonable enough, you know. Yeah. So I may go that way. I'm just not 100% sure yet.
Yeah, they don't make a ton of parts aftermarket for those, I don't think.
Well, they don't make a ton, but they do make some aftermarket parts, and a lot of the LA 318 stuff will interchange. I mean, like the crank will interchange, and now I'm not sure how much you could bore one out or anything, if you're looking for performance, but I'm not really looking to do that with it,
And the thing that, everybody kind of says about the Poly 318 is, it weighs as much as a big block. I mean, it's big and heavy.
Yeah, well, it's actually from what I was researching on there, the whole thing's about 70 pounds heavier than the LA 318 with the heads and all that.
Iron to iron, maybe.
Yeah, it's about 70 pounds heavier than the LA 318. And a lot of people, from what I read, a lot of people think that it's a lot wider than the 318. Now, from outside of the head to the outside of the head, because of how it sets, or outside of the valve cover to the outside of the valve cover, yes, it's wider. But from the outside of the exhaust port to the outside of the exhaust port, it's 24.5 inches, same as the LA 318.
The Poly is the engine that they should have kept developing, because the Poly had the canted valves, and if they had made some better ports with the heads, that would have been the modern day Cleveland. Everybody likes the Ford Cleveland now because of the heads they made. The Poly was that design. If Chrysler had stayed on that instead of shift to the light A in '64, that engine would have been a screamer. You'd see 500 horsepower small blocks hardly doing anything to them, like the Cleveland, because we'd have had that canted valve stuff for the Mopars. But they didn't. They switched. They went to the common rail. They went to the smaller heads, made it cheaper to build. And the LAs are great engines, but they wouldn't have held a candle to that Poly if they'd have kept developing it. And the Poly blocks were crazy thick too. They're a good foundation for power.
Yeah, everything anybody's told me is, if they would have put a little more cubic inch in it and they would have put a better flowing head and a little bigger cam, it would have woke it up a lot.
Well, I also found there are actually like poly groups, where people just race polys, and they've got all kinds of they got like aftermarket air gap intakes and stuff that you can get for them, and I mean just all kinds of unique stuff. But
Dean Stevenson, yeah, it is kind of like the ball stud. The ball stud Hemi was a lot like the big block Chevy, and the Poly was closer to that. Yes, it's the canted valve setup. Yes.
And this is my first one that I've ever owned, so I really don't know much at all about them. I've just been researching online, trying to find out as much as I can about it, so that I will know, what I'm looking for and what I want to do with it, and
that ball stud Hemi, that could have been a good foundation for a pro stock program if they'd done it. Never know.
I know according to, the VIN and all that, the decoder, just with that 2-barrel, it was rated at 230 horsepower from the factory. And for that 318, 230 horsepower, that car's not that heavy. I mean, so it's a decent amount of power for what it was, for just a little small block.
Right.
A lot more than that LA 318 in my 72 Charger. I think it was rated at a base horsepower of 185.
That was probably what the net rating in 72. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just, it was a pretty disappointing dog when I first got it.
Yeah. I don't know much about small blocks. All I know is we recently got a 73 Barracuda, and it's got a small block in it. I didn't know what it was, and I looked at the casting number on the side of it, and it turns out it's a 1971 340 that somebody swapped in there. I was like, ooh, well, that's good. I still don't know anything about it, but that's good. But I know I've pretty much narrowed it down to the timing chain has jumped at least one, if not two teeth on it, because I have to completely basically retard the timing just to get it to run at all. Like, the vacuum canister on the distributor, generally speaking, points towards like the passenger hood hinge area. It's pointing pretty much at the radiator just to get it to run. So I have to back it way off to get it to run, but I think once the timing chain's fixed, it'd be a good runner because it's definitely got a bigger cam in it. It's got a Edelbrock Performer intake, and it's got hooker headers with full dual exhaust on it. And I have got it to run a little bit, and I'm surprised. It doesn't even have a single exhaust leak on it anywhere. And I was like,
wow.
Somebody used the right gaskets.
Yeah, well, I was at the U-Pull-It getting the wheels for the Blockbuster. They had an old Dodge Ram Charger out there, and I'm probably going to go out there this week and snag those exhaust manifolds. They got the little lines on them going straight down. I just like the look of them, and I like how they go to the center. You know what I mean? Because I busted a couple of mine playing around with this project, and I just never know when I'm going to need another set. And they're cheap enough at U-Pull-It. I think they're like $30.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to be running manifolds on pretty much anything, but I don't know. Like I've got manifolds on the 69 Roadrunner, and those are probably getting taken off in favor of headers.
You're right.
Because I mean, a lot of people say the headers leak and stuff, and I'm sure a lot of people have problems with that, and I don't have a ton of experience with it, so I shouldn't talk too much about it, but it's been proven time and time and time again. It makes more power with headers, regardless of what it is, pretty much.
Well, I guarantee you wouldn't fit a set of headers on the Blockbuster the way I've got it set up. And it's not taking headers. It's just not going to do it. They're not going to fit in there at all.
You could probably fit zoomies through the hood.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say it don't really have a hood on it. I've got the front clip and fenders on it, but I don't have the hood on it. I'm thinking I'm just gonna forego the hood for now and just leave the front clip and fenders on. So
I need to get my hood for the Super Bee figured out because I'm going to need to cut a hole in it. But it's just a plain flat coronet hood I'm going to be using, so that's not really that big of a deal.
Well, just plain flat coronet hoods are hard to come by now.
Oh, how many you want? I can get you as many as you want. I know where there's 10 of them.
Well, but that 10 is, I mean, that's the thing. That stuff is really dried up. And you got a few people that have them all now. So
I got that one old, I don't know if it's 66, 65, 66, 67, somewhere in there, a Fury hood that my buddy had it over at his house. It was one of his dad's project cars, and he traded the car, then found the hood in the shop later or something, and he was going to use it for a sled. And I was like, no. I said, you use Chevy truck hoods for a sled.
Yeah.
Square body hoods.
Yeah.
He's a bow tie.
Or you go spend or you go spend $25 on a sled, you know.
Yeah, or just go buy a sled.
Yeah.
Right. There's that. Yeah.
just got a spectator ticket order form for Saturday. This person had ordered for Friday, and now they realize they can make it both days. Good for them.
You know, John, I've been meaning to ask you, and obviously if this is not information that's available or to be shared, that's fine. But how are we looking spectator-wise? Is there a decent amount of people registered spectator-wise?
We have a lot of people bought tickets, but I figure most spectators, I figured right from the get-go would buy at the gate because that's just what people do.
Oh, I assume, I guess. I've just been kind of curious about that because, we never really just talked about it, you know.
We've never actually counted on any kind of spectator because we're just going to show up and whoever wants to watch us can watch us, and whoever wants to come out for a day of race the track can come out.
Oh, yeah.
What'll happen is that once this first event is in the books, you won't have to have any imagination anymore.
Mm-hmm.
See, because now it'll be, people will see the video. We have people ask all these questions. What's a 28 by 10.5 race? Well, once the video comes out and they see these people pulling the front wheels off the ground and running in the fives, oh, that's what it is. And see, then people will know what it is. But see, we got that problem that, the picture's worth 1,000 words.
Right.
And that's the thing. It takes some vision and imagination to make this first event for spectators and for participants. It won't take that next year.
Right.
It won't
and the other thing I think is kind of something worth noting, and this is nothing against anybody. There's a lot of really talented and skilled and experienced people within the group of people that are going. But there's a lot of people that have never done this before, and there's a lot of people that don't have the experience, and it's going to be a new thing for them. So that's where probably a lot of people are asking questions there too.
85% of the people have never been down a track before. Probably. Have you been down a track? Either of you guys?
No. I haven't.
Here's your chance.
I don't think my cars will pass tech.
Yeah, I got to tell you, it's not going to be hard to pass tech for really anything.
Well,
you do need to have a battery hold down. You can't have fluids hemorrhaging out of it. You got to have a radiator overflow, even if it's just a bungee cord holding the battery, and even if it's a 20-ounce bottle for a radiator overflow, that suffices.
You have to have all your lug nuts on all your studs.
What's that?
You have to have all your lug nuts on all your studs.
Yeah, you need to have all your lug nuts and all your studs.
Oh, well, so that's the thing on the lug nut thing and your studs. Don't your lug nuts or your studs have to go out past your lug nuts or no?
That's something that's so misunderstood. That's not the rule at all.
Okay.
The rule is, and the reason you see that, I'll tell you in a minute why you see that. The rule is that the threads of the stud must engage into the lug nut the same length as the diameter of the stud. So if you're running a 1/2 inch stud, it has to go a 1/2 inch into the lug nut.
Oh my gosh,
which is not that much.
No, might go way more than that in there.
So if you're running a 1/2 13 thread, guess what that means? 6 full turns of the lug nut is all. That's all the rules say. Now, the reason you see guys running these studs that stick this far out, like there's a reason for that. Part of it is lazy. When you have an aluminum wheel, okay, with steel wheel, the hub is only like an 1/8 inch thick, right? The thickness of the seat is only an 1/8 of an inch. That's all it is.
Right.
When you run an aluminum wheel, the hub is about an inch thick. Like Krager SS's, the hub's an inch thick.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why those wheels have those shank lug nuts that go down in that center hub.
Gotcha.
Taking up the slack of the wheel.
Right.
Yeah.
So those are legal. Those are legal. The steel wheels with regular lug nuts are legal. What happens though? Guys will run these really thick register wheels. They run them with open-ended lug nuts, and to get the thread engagement, they'll put a 3-inch stud in there. Well, the 3-inch stud is so that it's universal. It fits any thickness of wheel and all that stuff, right? What I would want to do would be cut off the excess, but they don't. They run these studs sticking out like spikes, but you don't have to have all that.
Yeah.
You just have to have the whatever the diameter of the stud is, it must also protrude into the lug nut that far.
Cool.
It's in the rule book.
Yeah. Hopefully we don't get so many oil downs.
I'm actually getting some custom studs made for the dart sport. I did a lot of measuring. I don't know off the top of my head what the numbers are, but I want to say it's 5/8 of an inch is how much extra stud a factory Chrysler disc brake front end needs to fit a 1-inch thick Krager SS and be the right thickness for the rules. 5/8 of an inch. That's all it needs.
Gotcha.
Or I can stick those gargantuan 3-inch studs in there and stick way out. But that's just extra steel to drag. And I guess people like the look of it, but you don't need all that.
Yeah. People put little caps on them or something.
Mm-hmm.
Put little spikes on them.
Yep.
Well, when I got those wheels from the junkyard, I took all the lug nuts that went to those specific wheels, so that I knew that they would go down in there like they're supposed to, because they're not Dodge wheels.
Technically, Sam, you don't have to run open end lug nuts, but they could make you take off all 20 of them to check them. They wanted open ends, I guess, just to make it easier for you, but I don't know if they can enforce that.
Well, they probably just want a little quick check.
Yeah. Makes it easier to check.
Yeah.
Whereas my race car ran, I don't know how long with those closed in, but then again, it was most of these janky outlaw tracks, doesn't matter. So,
right.
Yeah, Peckerwood Customs, that's right. Enough thread, but it has to be at least the diameter of the stud.
Yeah, well, mine might accidentally pass tech.
White Trash Motorsports says they wouldn't let me run without it. Well, you know what though? But here's the thing: you can go to the rule book and look. It's real clear what they have to have.
And then if you have a battery in the trunk, you have to have an external kill switch, right?
You have to have an external switch on it, and you need to have it vented outside the trunk too. That's the thing people forget is that.
For people that have battery in the trunk, right?
I see, mine's right behind my back seat, kind of across where the axle is.
If you have any questions, refer to the rule book and/or ask Dallas.
All right.
Yeah, they don't always know White Trash Motorsports. Imagine, hey, go ask 10 cops what your gun rights are in any situation. You won't get 10 answers the same either. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
Does Barrows ask, does Jeffers have their own tech? So Dallas has the AHRA tech inspector that does tech for events over there. His tech guy for AHRA is going to be doing the tech. Fixing on at garage. Too much rubber fuel hose is a common one. Yes, that's true. But here's the thing. You don't have to get all wrapped up in doing hardline. You can do like a braided. It doesn't have to be braided steel. It can be. But you can do the braided nylon. You can absolutely do that. Mm-hmm. You can do that. I know people who use the braided washing machine hose. And it's got a real cheap stainless, and it's plastic. And I've seen people do it. I don't know that you're supposed to. I know that stuff's not fuel rated, but people do it. Maybe it'll fool the tech inspector, but I'm not advocating it.
Yeah,
you're right, Brian. Janky racetracks rule.
Yeah, Jefferson is not a janky track.
I've always enjoyed just going and watching there because you never know.
I've never even been to a track.
See, Sam said, you never been to a track?
No.
What? Whoa. Hold the boat. You've never been to a track?
No, I've never been to a track. I've never witnessed an 1/8 mile or a 1/4 mile race.
Really?
Wow.
Like you've never been to a track like ever?
No.
That's amazing. Wow. I don't even know what to think.
I'm the emoji now. Mind blown.
I know. That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you'll have a good time. It's cool. You'll be hooked.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for clutch cars, it has to be braided where it goes by the flywheel. So says NHRA. Yeah, I got to tell you though, there's a lot of rules we try to be really careful with. Because we don't want people to get too tangled up in them. We just try to hit the high spots because it's kind of like these ranges that have 57 rules. You guarantee you those have more MDs than ranges that have the only 4 you ever need. That kind of thing. Make sure they have helmets. Make sure they have battery hold downs. Make sure they have overflow cans. Make sure they don't just have rubber fuel line going all the way back. If we can do that and have all the lug nuts there, that's probably going to be a big deal. And drive shaft loops on cars with slicks.
Yeah. Well, I don't have slicks, but I got a drive shaft loop because you see my drive shaft.
You got the sketchiest drive shaft I've ever seen. Your drive shaft is about 1 step above a swivel extension for a drill. So I'm glad you got that drive shaft loop. You're right.
So you only have to have a drive shaft loop if you have slicks?
Or if you're running a certain ET. But if
Right.
you're not running, I don't know what it is. It might be a 1299 or something. But if you have a slick, regardless of ET,
Okay.
but you're fine. Just get something running, Ryan, and bring it.
Yeah, I should look at that rule book because I wonder if I decide to bring a 4-speed car, I probably have to have the inspection cover on the bottom of the flywheel.
Okay, so here's the thing. If you got any tech questions, ask Dallas. But here's the big thing. Your car's going to be quicker than all the cars of people who didn't show up.
Right.
I used to tell people that all the time. They never would shoot in these IDPA matches because they're afraid they're not good enough or something. And I'm like, listen, you're a better shot than everybody who didn't show up. So if you go to the gun store and some guy's telling how good a shot he is, oh, well, I didn't see you shooting in any of the matches this year. Oh, well, then I don't want to hear it. But if you show up with anything, you're quicker than everybody who wouldn't show up.
Exactly. And you're not going to forget your first time down the track, even if you run 20-second pass. It's going to be burned in your memory.
If you show up with anything, if you show up with a car that makes a 19-second 1/8 mile pass, you now have more credibility instantly than these people that tell you, well, my car probably runs in the 7th. They've never run it before. I'm telling you, because there's you know full well the world is full of those, right?
Oh, yeah.
I've never met anyone like that.
Every parts store in America, all over the internet, they want to tell you what their stuff runs. They've never run it. Although we have one notoriously in the chat for that. I think y'all know. I mean, he's notorious. It's the fastest Pontiac on earth, and all this stuff. Well, you know what? You can come prove it. It's not coming.
Yeah.
Everyone in the chat is saying I'm going to become addicted to this after it's done.
Bring your
it's
car
fun.
and take it and run it, and you instantly will have more credibility than the people who would not. And then, you come back next year and say, hey, look at that. It's a second quicker. And you come back the next year. Oh, look at that. It's a second quicker. You can do that.
I think I'm going to make a call out against Brian, Dust Devil Garage. While they're doing the push, I'll do the hoopty. And we'll probably end up at the other end about the same time.
You can do a push race with the hoopty, teams of 4. Actually, Brian, I think he's going to do that with the Jet guys. They're going to have a push race.
Yeah.
Mike, you could do that. We can have a push race. It'd be great if we had a whole push bracket. That would be hilarious. That'd be great. It'd be a lot of fun.
Now there, I might have a chance because that hoopty don't weigh nothing.
Seriously, I'm dead serious.
Don't weigh nothing. I bet it don't weigh more than 2,200 pounds.
We can absolutely do this. We can have a push race. Teams of 4 pushing a car.
Oh, here we go.
And if you want to get out down track and switch the driver out and when the driver start pushing and one of the pushers steer, you can do all that. If it's whoever gets there first. I'm serious.
That's a little Chinese fire drill.
I'm telling you, I have already talked to Dallas about this. I've already talked about so you can have teams of 4. You can jump out. You can switch the steerer versus the pusher. Dallas is going to flag it at the start line. I'll flag it on the top end, and we'll have a whole bracket. So if we have 4 push teams, they'll push, right? Then we'll have 2 winners, and then we'll give them a rest, right? So they can come back and do the finals or what. I think having a whole push bracket would be great.
Nice.
And you can strategize it, right? So let's say the heaviest person in your team's like, okay, heaviest person in the team we want pushing first, lightest person steering, or maybe you can do it the other way. Or we try to figure out the strategy of the best way to push that car down the track.
Yeah, I think
you
it
gotta
has
have
to
a
be.
guy.
And I think
You
it
gotta
has
have
to
a
be
guy
me
going
getting
down the track with them, filming.
Yeah, I think I'd have to get it started. You know what I mean? I'll do the heavy pushing to get it rolling, and then I'll be the one winded and having to ride the rest of the way.
John, what we should do is we should have a guy like in a golf cart or something going down the middle of the track between the 2 cars with a GoPro pointed in both directions at both cars, filming it.
Hey, Kim, I hope nobody has a heart attack, but I got my certifications for the AED, so if we needed have your heart attack on the top end, then I'll paddles to them. I'll put the paddles to them, Kim, but you got to shave them. That's the part I'm not going to do.
Just don't get mad and push too fast.
One thing that's cool about too, if you do it on the track, you won't have to worry about your feet flying out from under you like you do when you're pushing a car in dirt or gravel. Nah, they'll stick good.
You're right.
Yeah. Man, I've had a drag strip pull a shoe off before. I mean, yeah, if it's prepped decently, yeah.
Yeah, that's usually what I do the first time I take somebody to a track. I walk them out on the starting line and let them feel how sticky it is.
Yep. Yes.
Do you let them? You let them stand back behind the car whenever they take off so they get pelted and be like, oh.
Our track won't let you.
Kim, yes. Kim, yes, we should have EMS on site. That's a punch list thing Dallas I need to make sure of, but yes. And in addition to that, don't forget, First Responder Garage, Buff, they're EMTs. And then, of course, Bigfoot Mark and his wife, I believe, are a doctor nurse. I mean, we've actually got professionals there participating in addition to the staff.
Yeah, when I was living in Oregon back in 1999, the first time I lived up there, we used to go to the Woodburn drags all the time. And my ex-wife's uncle was a mechanic for Gary Corbett, Bad Company Racing. And he ran a 61 rail, and he was running a DeSoto in there. And one of his crew guys got hurt, and they asked me to help push back on that car because it didn't have no reverse. It was all forward gears. And so I went out there. I'm like, sure, no problem. Man, I didn't realize how far that sucker went when he did his little burnout. And I was like, I was winded by the time we got that car back. I was like, holy crap, I'm too big for this.
Blake is saying, I apologize in advance if my drone crashes anybody pit space. Blake, don't get a DUI with a drone. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Just
I
don't
will.
crash into anybody's car, please.
But no, in
Well,
all
I
seriousness,
wouldn't
there's
notice
going to
it.
be a lot of drones there, and we just don't want them over the track while people are running. So just be real careful with your drones, because I expect there will be lots of drones there.
Just don't scratch the hoopty with it.
Yeah.
Don't
I'm
scratch
freaking
my
landed
stuff
on my
with
roof.
it if I bring something. Somebody's going to get a drone through their windshield.
Probably
That would
not.
take a lot to go through a windshield.
I don't know. That'd be
Yeah,
really hard
they're
for
all
a drone to
plastic,
get through the windshield. I think before it got through the windshield, my dog will jump up and grab it out of the air. He tries to catch those things.
That would be hard. That would be some footage.
I tell you what, I've got video of him chasing a drone.
Have one of those drones with a camera pointing down, and then just the dog jumps up, and it's like Jaws.
Yeah, just pit bull mouth crunch.
Yeah.
Does your dog catch frisbee, John?
He does, but he'll eat it. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's Dixie does. I've been working with her. She'll catch it, but she'll want to give it back.
He'll catch it and he'll sling it side to side like he's trying to kill it, and it's done. That frisbee's good for one toss.
Yeah, you usually got to have treats with her. That way, she'll trade you it back for a treat. But if you don't, she'll just destroy it.
That's really smart. That's what I need to do, because he can catch. He's really good at catching.
Yeah, my pit bull was the same way. I'd throw a frisbee and he'd run and get it, but you ain't getting it back.
He'll wake up to play ball. He's crashed out with his blanket right now. That's what he's doing right now.
What is it with pit bulls and crawling under blankets? That's how this one sleeps. My last one slept under a blanket.
Yeah. He'll be there. He'll be at the event. He's going to have his own little shaded pit spot.
Nice.
Awesome. Yeah, that's what I was saying on my tractor. I've had guys, I go there 5 times in a row and nobody say nothing. Showed up one night and then they're complaining about the nitrous bottle because I didn't have a blowdown tube on it, but I got a firewall between the trunk and the inside of the car. And
you know,
just dumb stuff.
The tech guys all do different things. I know that I do know that Dallas's tech guy, he's not like one of these people that's got his ego invested in flunking people. Okay.
Yeah.
He wants people to be safe.
That's understandable.
You know,
it is. It gives us more of a bad name if we go out there and do stupid stuff. Anyway, you don't want that.
If you really wanted to get really down to it on tech, I know how you can fail a lot of cars that just otherwise look like they totally have their act together. Like I know a car that's here on YouTube. I see it all the time. I won't identify it. Car looks like it totally has everything, right? The belts look new. Everything looks good. But you look close up, the whole top roll cage isn't welded. I see that a lot. Because they don't know how to weld a cage.
Yeah. I like that you can't use a seatbelt over 3 years old, but you can use a 50-year-old seatbelt, lap belt in the car.
You can.
There's no problem with that.
The land speed guys will let you use a 5-year-old lap belt. Figure that out.
Yeah. Well, when we dirt track race, they would let us use a 3-year-old one was the max on it in the little low class, a 4-cylinder class. But
in AHRA, what's the deal on the lap belt?
Yeah, they have. What is it? 3 years, Sam? I can see.
I think it's 3.
And then you got Dallas
rewebbed. Yeah, Dallas wanted to give it a little bit more. Most companies will let you send it in and recertify it after 3 years.
Yeah. And they
mine ain't gonna pass tech.
No, but that's what I was getting ready to say though. Your factory belts can be 50 years old as long as they're not frayed.
There ain't nothing factory in that car.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Bring it, and you know what? If he says
we'll see.
Take it out.
Yeah. So we'll find you a belt if something has to happen. Someone will have a spare set of belts.
I was thinking that NSB. I was thinking it was 2, but then I thought, well, it might be 3 because there's something that's 3. The Nelsons know this because it's 5 years for land speed. So something is 3.
Well, I remember Dallas having that conversation one night on a live, so I thought maybe he did give it an extra year. I didn't.
He doesn't have the latitude unless it's an AHRA rule, but it's whatever's in the rule book. 2 year for NHRA. Yeah, I know it's 5 for land speed, but there's something that's 3. I don't remember. Dust Devil just passed a dead skunk. Well, that's great, man.
Thanks for the update.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, man. We get to smell it right here with you. Thanks, man.
One of our dogs got sprayed by a skunk one time, And my wife went out. It was early in the morning. The dogs, we always let them out to go do their business. And I hear her yelling out in the front yard. And so I immediately opened the door. I wanted to see what's going on. And here comes the dog running at me. And she says, "Jake, no." And about that time, he barrels past me and goes and starts rubbing on the back of the couch. And he had just got sprayed straight on by a skunk, man. And oh, it was horrible. We tried everything to get that smell off of us, and it got the other dog too, and we were just like, but it was too late, and then we're looking for something to get the smell off. We went into Petco, and after we thought we were, pretty well good, and people were standing there, and I was like, we must still smell. We couldn't even smell it anymore because we were so saturated.
The dog didn't get rabies from the skunk.
Yeah,
we had a pit bull and a boxer. He would always get sprayed. When he'd go out, he'd find a skunk and he'd come back sprayed. We found out bathroom bottle of hydrogen peroxide is about the best thing we find. It would take the smell off. Just pour the whole bottle on. No, it doesn't. It doesn't bleach your hair, but it take most of the smell off of him.
Yeah. Them skunks are powerful. The one thing we finally found that worked is called Nature's Miracle, and it's a concentrated cleaner. Use that to clean all your fabric and spray it all down and all that, and clean your carpet with it, and it'll take the smell out. But man, it took us about a week to find the right stuff.
Man. Well, I'm going to keep that in mind because mine likes to sleep right at my feet. If he gets sprayed, that'll be a rough week.
Yeah, it was rough. It was rough. Yeah, we tried all kinds of remedies and all these things, and yeah, it was terrible.
Hey, John, question about just for like people hanging out in the pits, during the event or after nighttime, whatever. Mm-hmm. I had heard people asking about it. I just didn't know what the answer on it was, or if you know or not. I heard people talking about maybe having like a small little campfire or something in the pits. Yeah. Is that going to be allowed or no?
Yeah, you can do that. You need to have your own fire pit though, because Larry Jeffers is not going to want you setting a fire on his grass or on his parking lot.
No.
Yeah,
obviously you need to be careful around all cars and stuff.
And you YouTubers, I know you want to put 5 gallons of gasoline in a road flare and film it and just say, what'll happen if we do this? I know we're all those kind of people, but we don't need to do that.
It's just content, John.
I know.
Everybody's at the Saturday morning drivers meeting with no facial hair.
Yeah.
I got a funny one about
Friday morning. We're going to have to. We need people to show up. See, we got so many people that have never been on a track before. Drivers meeting is going to be really important.
Talking about no facial hair. Me and my buddy, we were scrapping one time. A guy gave us a whole farm full of scrap. And there's these big balls of used wire, and we put them in a steel barrel. We decided we were going to burn them off in the steel barrel. We got this idea. We poured a bunch of diesel on there, man. And I kept throwing matches in there and throwing matches. Then I took a piece of paper and lit it and threw it in there, and it wouldn't go. And I was like, what the crap? And I looked over and it took half my beard, my eyebrow, part of most of my mustache. I was like, well, that was not good.
I remember one time I was trying to burn a bunch of brush one time, and I don't know how old I was, a teenager. And I'm like, this stuff was pretty green. I couldn't get it to light. I'm like, okay, well, it looks like a little bit of gasoline helps it light, but it doesn't stay burning very long. I don't know how much gas I wound up putting on this thing, but when I finally lit some newspaper and threw on the pile, that first flame went over top of a 2-story house. So, 10 minutes later, the fire department comes rolling up the driveway. I'm just burning some brush. Okay, and they left. If they had seen that, about the first 5 minutes was hairy. It was scary. It singed all the leaves off of one side on the tree, and it got it burning good. And once it started, it took that green stuff right up.
I've lost more eyebrows than car backfires. I think anything. It never fails. The second you look down, it pop.
Yeah, I burned a brush pile, a bunch of cedar tops when I was cutting down some cedar trees. I just piled all the tops in there. They've been sitting there for 3 or 4 months. They're pretty dry and crispy. I let them go. I lit them up, man, and I didn't realize till after I lit that brush pile on fire, and I mean, and it was really blazing. There was a power line up above, and that power line was just swinging from the heat. And I was like, oh, hell. So I had to go get some water and spray it down.
Okay, Dean, we're talking about 19 liters for you.
19 liters?
Yeah, he said if you're using 5 U.S. gallons, you're doing it wrong. Well, we don't do things for content because they're right. We do them because they're content.
What you got to do is you got to get an empty water bottle, fill it about a third to halfway full of gas, close the lid, throw it into an active fire, and run.
Or just use a little bit of diesel fuel like somebody with some sense and let it take care of it. Doesn't take much. Diesel.
It's about entertainment.
I wish I had a camera rolling. We blew a tire up with propane one time trying to seat the bead. My buddy, he's a welder and he thought he was safe. I went out to get some starting fluid. He's like, well, I just took the torches, he said, and I just put a little bit of propane in. I was like, well, how much? He's like, just a little bit. I bent down and lit it. It was a brand new 35-inch tire. Shredded it. Freaking my ex-wife comes running out in the garage. You can't see it because it's just a big cloud of dust. The windows in the house rattled down the street. And there's the dust settles. We're just standing there with this tire shredded in the middle of the thing going, man, we're lucky we're alive.
Yeah. Man.
Goodness.
I inflated a tire. I was in Georgia, coming back from Georgia last year. There's a picture of it on my community page. I actually managed to run over some tire carcass and cut down 2 tires on the left side at the same time. I'm like, well, this is great. So I put the spare on, and I actually had a tire without a rim with me. I'm like, well, this is good. I got to get it on the car. So I actually am changing the tire manually, but I didn't have a way to inflate it. I go to the parts store, get some starting fluid. Those guys were out there watching, just fascinated, just hoping, But I lit it off there. Boom. I didn't film it, unfortunately, but I did get a still picture mounting the tire.
Yeah, there's a couple old boys mounting a tire out by a gas station over in Bentonville, Arkansas, several years ago. And they were they got an air hose right there, and they couldn't get it to seat. And one of these guys poured some gasoline in there and went to light it. And of course, instead of just, poofing and it popping on the rim, it went poof, and then it just kept burning and kept burning. He couldn't get it out.
We've used gas, but a little bit, and just let the vapors build up in there and kick it a couple times. You use gasoline, but they must get carried away.
Yeah, I think he poured about a cup and a half in there.
See him out there trying to douse the tire out. Oh, shoot.
Yeah, he was stomping on it. He ended up rolling it down in the ditch.
Lee, are you cringing like mad right now or what?
Hey guys, I'm gonna jump off, but thanks for having me on, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Yep. See you,
all right, Ryan.
Thanks for
Take care,
in.
man. Yeah, I don't think I've paid a tire shop to put a tire on in probably 20 years.
I do all my own just manually in the driveway, but
same here.
I've mounted I don't know how many a year, just using tire irons.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a little Harbor. I've got a little Harbor Freight manual tire changer out here. I've got it mounted on a plastic pallet. I've had it for years. I mean, and I've bent the tool that you use to put on, and I mean, I've put 315s on my big truck wheels with it, and I was like, yeah, that's a bit much. I'll do my smaller tires, but now I take my big tires. I'm getting old. I'll take my big tires to the shop.
Colleen, why don't you jump on here? Mopars, Mustangs, and minivans. He said he's got the night off, so he'll just do it sometime, and that's fine. Why don't you jump on here? Danny Boyd says hobo freight. I call it hazard fraught. If you have not looked up the hazard fraught ad, have you guys seen that for hazard fraught tools?
That was like a meme.
It is a masterpiece. Some guy actually made a parody of the entire Harbor Freight flyer, like the whole thing, called Hazard Fraught Tools. It's one of the funniest. You know what? I'm going to do it right now because why not? We're not. This is worth doing. Check this out. I'm going to get this for you.
That's some guy that had free time at work.
Yeah,
I'm
someone
gonna
with way
do
too
this.
much time on their hands.
Okay, yeah, somebody had a ton of time, but it is worth it.
It was worth it.
Because it's just you just can't. If you haven't seen it, you just can't know. Okay, that's okay. I got to get the whole thing because he did the whole thing, like all of the pages.
Wow,
it's really amazing what this guy did. Okay, here's one of the pages here. Come on, man. All right, give me a minute because I'm going to try to just save each page so that I don't have to sit here and skim through them.
Good night, Sir Ed.
This is really worth it. This is going to be worth it. It's one of these things if you haven't seen.
Well, now that you said it's funny, the anticipation's killing us, John. Come on.
I know, but you just but I can't. The way they did it in 4 pages, it's hard to.
Yeah, it's hard to do on the phone.
Yeah, but I can do it. I can do it. I got 2 of them now. There's a 3rd one, and that's one of my favorites. Oh, there's an okay. I think I got them all now. It's 4 pages. So here we go. All right, let's see if I can do this. Okay. And in no particular order, here are the pages. Okay. This is the Hazard Fraught Tool Catalog Flyer. We have, oh man, they're hard to read. Shoot. I don't know how to get this up on my screen, but you look at the pictures there.
Well, you got to read a few of them off now.
Some of them aren't very funny, but like here's the overwhelming 148 piece toolkit. Okay. And it says all tools are guaranteed to be subpar even by our standards.
Nice.
This flyer is amazing. Miniature, near useless versions of real tools no one would ever buy separately. A perfect gift for daughter's first apartment, despite the fact she doesn't know how to change a light bulb. It's 4-drawer chest makes useful makeup caddy once all the tools are tossed away. $64.99. Here's a 16-ton hydraulic nail unbender. $135. Here's some Bono safety goggles. $12.49.
Okay.
Yeah. It says protect eyes and maintain inflated sense of self-importance when using power tools.
There you go.
I mean, this ad is absolutely hilarious. Here's an 8-function electric multi-tool for $9.99. It tests AC/DC voltage. Oh man, that one's not very clear. Let me see if I think I got that one in another. Yeah, that one's blurry. Shoot. I'm gonna come back to that one. This whole thing is a masterpiece. Here's the free flashlight, and the brand is never in stock. That's the brand. Here's a self-tumbling patio umbrella. It's you got to read the flyer.
Yeah, I got to look
really
that
amazing.
up. That's good.
I think this is one of my favorites, though. This $8.99, you can get a moron lamp. But you got to see the whole flyer. I may even put a link to it on my community
It's great because once you see that, you'll never look at tools again. Anytime you see them, you'll never look at their tools again without thinking of those.
Colleen, you're not the face of Mopars, Mustangs, and minivans, but you are the ambassador. You're welcome to come on. I mean, no, but that flyer is one of the funniest things I have ever read. I read it probably the first time, I bet you 15 years ago. It's one of the funniest things I've ever read. You know what? I'm going to do that. After this, I'm going to put it up on my community page because it's hilarious. Somebody really put a lot of time into that thing. And it really looks like the real flyer, just like it.
I think I might have had one of them umbrellas.
Yeah, that little function multi-tool, I remember two of the uses were like corn on the cob holder, paternity tester, all kinds of things. And it's typical, hazard fraught stuff.
That probably originated from the old message board days. Someone on there probably invented that.
Brewer will probably have worse for real.
Well, guys, I've been up since 5:30. I think I'm going to call the evening. And,
thank you, Mike. Appreciate you being on, man.
Mike, good to see you, buddy.
It's good talking with you guys, man. And everybody in the chat, been awesome. And I'm going to go hit the old sack because I'm old. It's past my bedtime. The chickens are already up.
Sounds good. We'll see you, man.
So,
take care, buddy.
Howdy, Brewer. How's it going? You're welcome to jump in if you'd like. Got a link pinned at the top. There's Mopars, Mustangs, and minivans. Not just Mopars, not just Mustangs, and not just minivans, but there's a Mopar singular, a Mustang singular, and a minivan singular. It's a mystery.
They got it all covered.
They do.
That's quite the variety. But that's
Brewer,
good stuff.
That's a beautiful V body you have there. That is really cool. The GTX, a Roadrunner. So Daddy's Money had a custom-made pair of Ray-Bans with polarized lens to match the roll cage and put them into 18-karat gold frames to flex on the haters. Well, that's so Austin. Very Austin. Hey, Brewer. What's going on?
Not a lot. How you guys doing tonight?
Hey, man.
Good.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine.
Good on
Already. Want to make sure I ain't got no feedback or nothing.
I can't see you unless you look like a circle with a little avatar in it.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, we can hear you. Nah, it's a good looking car. That's a good looking car. I like that. That's sharp. You going to get in on the 2018 and a half tire?
I don't know if we got enough for that or not.
Why not? It's $100 bill to enter. We've got bracket cars that run 1150s in it. I know. We've got
That's going to be an instant green, isn't it?
Instant green tree.
Let's see. It's anybody's race then.
Yeah, exactly.
Any 2018 5 tire car around here will be 550s.
Instant green tree. Fastest car isn't likely to win it. Instant green.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Once guys start trying to guess the tree, there's gonna be a lot of red lights.
Yeah, Austin has a pair of Ray-Ban aviators in every vehicle he owns. Makes sense to have a pair for the Jet too. Yeah, we couldn't get old Cabral out. Not yet, anyway.
He doesn't want to come out and play. That's terrible.
Yeah, that's all right.
I like to meet the guy. Seems boring, but hey, he's welcome. That's like that one post they said about it. I was like, no one's going to hurt him there. We're not that kind of people. We wouldn't invite him if anybody wished him ill will. He wants to make fun of us. We're just going to make fun of him. That's all.
Well, that's the problem. He won't come out because we will have proven to be a whole lot better people than he wants to tell people we are. That's why he's not going to come out. Not that he's afraid.
He's got his preconceived notions of who everybody is, and he don't want to take a chance of
No, he
proving that
knows
wrong.
better. He knows better. He knows that we are better people than he. It's a shtick at this point. He just has to keep it going. He's not actually. He didn't actually dislike anybody anymore. Now it's a game. It's a show.
Yeah. Well, it's like the thing, like it or like Tony or not, the experience that man has, you can't. He's been there and done that. He's done it all.
Yeah. Colleen says 3 Mopars, 1 Mustang, 1. That's right, because you're Charger. But what's the other Mopar? The Dart, the Charger. What is the other Mopar? So Brewer, what's your last 2-week thrash looking like now?
Still trying to finish up a 69 GTX that we're working on. It's a car we haven't had together in 20 years.
Sweet.
The car's all new, front to back, top to bottom.
Nice.
So hoping to test it out next week.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. It's a new lease on life coming out for No Name Nationals.
Yeah. And the 4-speed car that we raced, the 68 GTX, it's ready to go.
That's excellent. So tell us about that car. I've seen the pictures. I know it gets daylight under the wheels. It looks like it leaves hard. Tell us a little bit about
It
car.
does. It's actually it's a 40 or it's a 440 based RB block, but it's got a 4-inch 150 stroke crank and standard length rod and forged flat top pistons. It's actually a 499-inch motor. It's got stealth heads on it and a solid flat tappet, and A8 and 33 Hemi box and a Dana 60.
Sounds stout, man.
Yeah, it's a good running car. It's exceeded my expectations. The car tips the scales at 4,000 with the driver, and the car's been 1051 at 129.
That is rocking. How many pounds did you say that was?
4,000.
Man.
Oh, I don't feel bad now.
That car's all steel, full interior. It's got
Guess what?
split monoleaves, cow tracks.
This is what I came back. I didn't have to use the silver.
You
They
gotta
cheated
have
really bad. That was really they took advantage of a blind person.
You've got to have 600 horsepower to be moving that at least.
Yeah, it's by a horsepower calculator. It's showing that it makes 650 at the tire.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking you got to be 6.5 for that.
Yeah.
Pretty stout.
That's about that's definitely decent, man. That's sweet. Heck yeah. I thought my car was heavy at 3,500. Someone outweighed me.
I'll tell you what. So Two Hacks Jeff weighed his car today, and I won't give away the weight here. That's for his channel, but that'll be interesting. You can check that out. Andy has mentioned his truck is 4,020 with him in it.
Nice.
And this engine is heavier than what he had.
I was at the track last year, and I had a guy. He was there trying to tell me he had a G-body Malibu, and he was trying to give me some ridiculous weight that he was like 2,300 pounds. But the car still had glass in it and everything. And I'm like, "There's no way." I was like, "Mine weighs 3,500 and don't have a cage."
No, it's funny. There's all kinds of people that you can tell people who just have absolutely no idea. They'll tell a weight for their car. You can tell they just pulled that number straight out of where because it has no relevance to reality.
Yeah, that's like the guys with the times. I usually, when they give me a drag time, I'm like, "Oh, really? What mile an hour does it run?"
And they don't know.
Yeah, they never know. Or their mile an hour doesn't quite match up to that speed. I mean, a nitrous or turbo car can change it a little bit. They can run a little bit more mile an hour than ET, but even still, they'll give you something ridiculous. They're telling you your 10-second car. Well, what's it go? Oh, I don't know. 110? No. You always get the fake ones.
There's a lot of bogosity out there. I think the number that people just pull out of their butt when they want to make something up. I think that like the number that people shoot for, the fantasy number is 10-second car, whatever that is. And I don't know why. I don't know how the poser world decided on that number, because I remember like 20 years ago, School of Automotive Machinists. I was reading an article about them, and one of their instructors said, "Yeah, all our students all say they got a 10-second car at home, and most of them don't." Right? It's the funniest thing.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't know how the internet world decided on the 10-second car is the mythical beast they all have that's never been proven. I don't get it.
That's like you'll watch some guys on like 1320 video, and they'll do an interview, and they'll tell you their car's making 2,500 horsepower, and it's only trapping 130 miles an hour. It's like, bud, something's wrong there.
What washing machine did you get your transmission out of?
Yeah.
Because that ought to be flying.
Well, they don't tell you, yeah, it's a streaker. They don't tell you, yeah, it's capable of making 2,500, but they got it turned down, because they're going to run it down a crap road. And
NSP, my fastest pass is I got it on my video. It's 848 at 157.83, I think. I can't remember off the top of me. It's on my video. I got the time slip on it.
That's a nice pass.
I think that's what it is.
That's a very nice pass, John. What was that in?
Well, I was just in a rail car. That was nothing. I mean, I've been 937 in a door car.
At
140. I don't know. 100. I don't know. I have to look.
That's now my Cutlass by far. It's my fastest car. My fastest I've been in it is 1071, and like I said, I broke the rings off of 2 pistons at about 800 feet in that pass.
I got caught. You can tell it's nothing to brag about because I don't remember off the top of my head. I got to go look on my own channel to find it. But now you got me curious. Let me find it.
Yeah, that pass I went 1071 and 119 miles an hour. That's when I had that. When I bought the aftermarket fuel injectors for it, they told me I needed a 10 micron filter, and the only one I could find apparently didn't flow enough gallon per minute. And I mean, LS has big fuel rails, so I could get by in an 1/8 mile, but once I got out to the quarter, I would run out of fuel because the filter just couldn't keep up with demand.
I'll tell you what I would like to do, and I may do this before I croak. I got my license at Hawley's school, and that's a great place. I mean, it's a great place to go and to learn. I can recommend their school all day. But I thought about, because I'll never do this in anything I own, going down there to upgrade to like a, a 2A or 2B license and get over 200 miles an hour. And if I'm going to do that, I got to do it now because I'm already borderline on passing the physical. So.
Yeah, that would be cool. Just to have it. That way, when some kid's talking about his 10-second car that realistically runs 13, you can, hold on to my license here. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, this is actually video from the pass in the rail car. This is the quickest pass I ever made. I've never been in anything with a stretched wheelbase. This was a couple years ago. It was weird trying to judge where my front wheels were because
I can imagine. Yeah, not used to it.
It was weird and different. It was weird and different, and I just completely conceded the tree because I didn't want to screw up the run.
Oh man, that feeling of that acceleration, that when you got a sub 1.5 second 60 is just amazing.
It was about a 1.1 something 60 foot.
That's anything under 1.5 seconds you take, it just seems like, especially when you take somebody that's never rode in a car like that and they feel that acceleration, they're just always blown away.
Let's see. That I think I put the time up on. Yeah, there you go. 8:48.9 at 157.83. There we go.
Oh yeah, that's a solid pass, Sean. Nice.
That's a nice pass. And let me get the breakdown on that. The breakdown on it was, if I can zoom in on it, I just want to look at the time slip and look what the intervals were. Because I'm just kind of curious now what that actually amounts to. Well, I'm having a hard time doing it on my phone. I just wanted to see what that slip looks like to see how it jibes, because there we go. Okay. Now I can't see. The 60 foot on that was something like a 1.20, 1.18. It was right in there.
You felt that kick in the gut.
The eighth mile on that was, I want to say, a 5:40. I mean, that's a pretty wicked 60 foot. It's I'll tell you what I thought was the weirdest in their door car was that Lexan windshield. Never driven anything with Lexan windshield. And once you get up about 120 or 30, the Lexan is moving like this in your peripheral. Yeah, and it really messes with you, because like the whole wall is doing this because the Lexan is in the wind doing that, right?
Yeah, so it's flexion, distorting image.
So you got to ignore your peripheral, because your peripheral is like a kaleidoscope with that Lexan. It doesn't do that with glass, but it sure does do it with a plastic windshield. But I'm thinking, while I have any hope of passing the physical, going down there and running the alcohol program, just so I can go over 200 miles an hour in the quarter. And, I don't know. I don't know if I'll do that or not. It's
just to say you did it.
It's not cheap to pass. And I know if I mess around too long, I will not be able to pass the physical to do it. So, I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't.
You see how really, maybe.
What I really want to do now is I want to get my Dart Sport before I die. I conceded that whole project this year just to focus on the No Name Nationals. But I have some parts sitting in my office right here from Hoosier Garage, some sheet metal I need for that. And I'm going to get back on that. That car ran the quickest to 720 back in the day. And I have no doubt that we can get it there and quicker.
Oh, yeah.
With an old school 3.4. Actually, tell you the truth, he's probably going to run into sixes without much of a sweat. But he ran 720, so that's a very simple goal. I think it should easily go quicker than that. But there's a lot of things I'm not going to do just to make it quicker, because I want it to be old school. So there's lots of things that will still be steel, that will still be in the car. It will be all glass. It's going to look just like it rolled off the trailer ready to race in the early 80s.
So we're going to see that next year?
I don't know. We'll see.
That would be cool.
See. Fingers crossed.
Hope so.
What's up with your Roach Runner?
The Roach Runner I should have had for Carlisle, but this is a full-time job planning this race. And
I believe it.
That and the old grandparents' house, I've done a massive remodel. I'm still working on it. All the plumbing, all the electrical, 2 new roofs, both the accessory structure behind and the house, all kinds of structural work. All the structural's done. I put in 2 new windows. Still got to do a bunch of glazing, windows and glass, and that was a huge project that clogged me up for the entire first half of the year. And then this has progressively taken more time throughout the second half of that. So that is what has clogged me up on that. But the thing with the Roach Runner is it's mostly a complete car. Needs engine, transmission, and I have the parts for the front clip, actually. The guy I got it from just liked to take stuff apart and never put anything together. He's the most taken apart person I've ever seen. He had all these bump side Ford trucks he'd taken apart. He had this he'd taken apart. I asked him, I said, why did you take the front clip off of it? He said, oh, to protect it. I said, well, okay, you protected it. You protected it from a scrape from the mower, and in the meantime, lost all the hardware and the bumper brackets and everything. Yeah, I was protecting it. He just liked to take stuff apart. But I have the front clip for it. I certainly have several old 727s for it. I've got a good option for the engine, so hopefully I'll be able to put it together, make it run, make it steer stop, and do some stuff with it next year. That car I'm not going to get too crazy with.
That'd be a fun project.
Yeah. We'll gorilla tape the seat and, put some lights on it. We're not going to get crazy about cosmetics or any of that stuff.
Yeah, since I've done that, I've enjoyed cars so much more. Because growing up, you remember, John, you're about my age. Remember in the 80s and 90s, it was all about show cars. If it wasn't perfect,
if you didn't have a nice paint job, you didn't have anything.
Yeah, and you get shunned if you pull up to any car meet if you didn't have a beautiful car. And to let all that go and not worry about it and just have fun making them run, it's made this hobby so much more enjoyable.
I'm going to tell you right now, my Roadrunner next year at a car show, I am going to horrify some guy wearing knee-length white socks with his polyester shorts and white New Balance and the little rope on his hat, with the iron-on decals to tell you what kind of car it is, who's got the stuffed kid leaning up against the front bumper. That guy's going to cry when I park next to him. And I don't know who the guy is, but there's a lot of that guy out there, right?
Yeah, the guy, the Corvette with the Corvette jacket. But yeah, they do that to me because I got that. When I put that car together, the difference between driving it and not driving it, because in my state, you have to have a front bumper. I couldn't find a bumper anywhere because even though we've had that car for so long, the bumper was gone to it because it got bent and taken off probably 20 years ago. So I had a fiberglass running board laying in the garage. I'm like, I held it up there and I was like, that'll work for a bumper.
Sure.
It's been on there for 2 years and it's like, I get the weirdest looks out. A lot of guys love it. They're like, oh, it looks like an old moonshine running car, like it's a push bumper or something. And then the other guys just turn their nose up and scoot their chair over when I pull into the car show with it. But hey, I'm having fun with it. I ain't got much money in it, and I drive it to work every day. So I get to enjoy this car.
Yeah, my car had a front bumper back in the day, and when one of the owners had it, they were loading. Okay, so when you see it on my channel, most of the pictures you see it from were the guy named Jack Necessary owned it, and he ran it all through the early 90s, and he sold it to a guy named Clyde. And Clyde was a warrior. There was nothing Clyde wouldn't figure out a way to do, right? So he made a car trailer out of some mobile home axles, and he worked for a lot of people do that. That's not the sketchy part, but he worked for the local Chevron, right? Local gas station. And they had an old lift they had junked. So this guy took some mobile home axles, and he takes an old drive-on lift and makes a car trailer out of it. And then for the fenders on the trailer, this was a Chevron station. He took an old junked Chevron sign. You know how they're shaped, the Chevron signs?
Yeah.
And he took each half of that, and he made a fender for each side. I mean, it's really resourceful.
Oh, that's an awesome trailer.
Well, you'd think, but I also remember where one of the wheels came off of it when he's going down the road and flew across the 4 lane. So, and they welded the hole up and stuck it right back on there. The trailer was junk. It's a wonder that my car survived riding on that trailer all those years. But yeah, Clyde was wild, man. Nice guy, really nice guy. A lot of the stuff you see on that car was some Clyde stuff. But anyway, we'll talk about that when we get to it. But that was the deal. So one day he's loading this thing, and the ramps were actually pretty cool. They were aluminum cattle trailer ramps. You know how they have all the sections and they're aluminum? Well, he had 2 of those, and he had some really janky way to connect the ramp to the trailer. And he's driving the car up on there one day. I want to say it was in the rain, slicks on the back, and the right side ramp just flew out. and the car slams down on one side and it bends the bumper. So they took the bumper off, and it never had a bumper after that. It ran without a front bumper. But he said, well, it was actually a little bit quicker. I'm like, well, I'm sure it was, because the car had slowed down to like an 820 at that time. It did slow down about a full second by then, right? So anyway, there's things I'm going to do it like it was in the mid-90s. There's things like the mid-80s. It'll be kind of a mashup of all of that, but we're going to do it right. And we're going to make it quick again. And I'm sure we'll find a bunch of surprises, like we found 2 line locks on it, one on the front and one on the rear. I mean, just all kind of stuff.
That's cool, though. It's cool to see. I see old race cars like that get brought back to life, because most of them end up scrapped and gone forever.
This one is getting a good job done.
Yeah, I remember watching the video when you first got that.
Yep. I found it with the help of Jack, that owner. I ran into him at a car show, and I said, I've been passively looking for that car for years. I said, if you find it and they want to sell it, I'm a buyer. And he did. He found it. Sure enough. One thing I don't have for it, I really want to have, and they got to be out there. I do not have a single picture of the engine that was in that car. I remember what it looked like, but I just don't have one. It had a tunnel ram on it originally, and then they had changed it. Brian, this is just for you. Just for you, Brian. It had a tunnel ram on it in the day, and then they put a single 4 on it, and it was a black block and had TA heads. And I remember it pretty well. Had the Moroso valve covers and the tall, fasteners.
Yeah, the old T quick handle.
Yep.
The old T-bolt valve bolts.
Yep. Hey, Danny Boyd, it's Eastern Daylight Time, but the reason the hour works out is because we go to Standard Time and the track's on Central, so that's why that number works. See you, Blake. Hey, look at that. Put a 13 up and it scared Blake to sleep.
Now I just can't wait.
This is a first. Blake calls it a night before Andy does. That's never happened before. Boy, that's bizarro world there.
Still with us, Brewer?
Yes, sir. Just listening to the conversation.
Sorry, we're just kind of rambling. I don't normally get on stuff like that, but no, we're going to put the tunnel ram back, and I'll get it out here. Got this nice pair of 660s that were on Andy's ride Casper, and now we'll add buff, and these are what's going to go on the Dark Sport. Very nice.
Hey guys, how's it going?
What do you know?
Got a shirt on.
This looks
for
nice, right?
Those for these last few days. 13 to go, guys.
I think he's trying to tell us something with his shirt.
Actually,
I'm wiring.
It's 12 days, 23 hours, and 54 and a half minutes.
Hey, I got those same printouts.
I know you know what this looks like.
It looks good though, Buff. Did you paint that or hit it with acid? How white you got that thing?
I just washed the intake. I can't afford the fancy one.
Hey, that truck intake will make the same power as the fancy one.
The wiring is just about to kill me, though.
Yeah, it's a little tricky, but you'll get it.
I'm enjoying this different crowd I got on here tonight. We've got Sam, we got Buff, we got Brewer. That's really unusual. And Andy is awake after midnight. How often does that happen? NSB, good night, man. Dakota's here. It's past Dakota's bedtime, but we won't tell anybody. Dakota's about 13 or 14. We won't tell anybody that he's still up. Man, Dust Devil, be safe. He's so tired he's posting twice. Yeah, man. Be safe.
Yep. Take care, man. Yep. Have a good night.
Dakota actually graduated high school this year, but I don't know. We still think he's probably like 13. I don't know. I'm telling you, Dakota, you and your brother, his brother is Sam Mountain Ballistics. Those two should make the trek out there. Y'all to come out. Come out and spectate at least, man.
Oh, they're not coming?
I can't believe it, but no. And he lives in Northwest Georgia. And still,
because Hunter has been huge for me. He has helped me a lot.
I know. You'd think. They're in Northwest Georgia.
Yeah,
Those
they need
guys
to
are
be
near
there.
Chattanooga. I mean, literally, all they have to travel is Tennessee. They're right there at Chattanooga, and Sykeston is right there as soon as you cross the state line. Just Tennessee is all that's between them and that event.
How many hours would that be? Maybe 3 or 4?
No, it's probably more like 6, 7 for them, but it's a day.
Okay.
It's not a bad day at all.
That's about
Get
what
up
I
early,
got.
Take off and get there at lunchtime, man. You can do it. I can't remember. I remember the mound. Okay, I'm gonna look it up. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
From
looking forward to
Dakota's
meeting
town-
him.
From Dakota's town that he lives in to the town where the track is 4 hours and 53 minutes.
Oh, yeah, that's closer than I am.
That's all you are, Dakota. 4 hours and 53 minutes. That's it. If you take off from where you are, you go up through Nashville and come right in the way Dallas and I go. Same way. Same way. You could convoy with people. There's all kinds of people coming from the Nashville area. You could convoy with them. You should do it. Seriously. You're not that far from Nashville. Just do it. Go
Heck,
to
if someone was coming by, they'd probably pick him up and give him a ride if they had room.
I'm serious. You could carpool from Nashville. Just grab a ride, crash in the pits. Just do it. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to wind up moving the date back to the end of August next year. We very well may.
I tried to look at the weather.
Yeah, Lars they're coming from White House, which is north of Nashville. Oh, there's Dust Devil. There we go. There's Brian. I see the square, but I don't hear him. Hopefully he's not asleep. Brian, if you start snoring, if you start snoring, we're just gonna, I'll be quiet and listen, heckle you.
That'll be John's video in the morning. Dust Devil Garage snoring.
Yeah, we got 30. We got 30 in here after midnight on a Friday. It's crazy. I like Buff's shirt. That's a good shirt, man.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I don't know. Dust Devil's got his phone in vertical. I could see that.
30 here after midnight. I guess I'm not the only one that doesn't have much of a life anymore.
This is my life.
Well,
Doing this.
Mine too. Mine too lately. Since you
Doing
announced
this.
it, it's mine too.
And before I forget, I got to write down that extra spectator ticket that guy just bought because I printed it out and put it in the book right here while I was on the live, and I forgot to add it onto the rosters. This book is getting really heavy.
Can you hear me? Hello.
We can hear you. I can hear you.
I can, yeah.
Oh, okay. Shit. If there's too much background noise or something, just tell me and kick me out because we're driving down the highway right now.
Actually, sounds good. It sounds better than some people have in their house.
Yeah, I can live with it. Sounds good.
Oh yeah, sounds fine to me.
Yeah, we're headed to Bowling Green.
Kevin's Mopars is going to be coming from Lebanon. I got family in Lebanon. That's a good place to carpool from. That's northeast of Nashville. Right on I-40. Heaven's Mopar is going to be on exit 238 of I-40. Yeah, Peckerwood Customs says it's
Scott going to have his car done?
What's that?
Are you talking about Scott from Heaven's Mopars?
Yeah, he says he's going to be coming from Lebanon, Tennessee. It's not 45 minutes from Nashville. It's closer than that, Scott. No, Lebanon's right at exit 238. Nashville is like 209, no, 202, 3, 4, 5, somewhere right in there. You're past Nashville at exit 199. I know that. I had no idea Ralph Nader was from there. That is astonishing. I almost can't believe that. Actually, I've actually seen Ralph Nader in person. I saw him live speaking at Virginia Tech once. It was interesting.
It's a clueless individual.
Yeah, I still don't believe anything he said, but I still saw him.
He definitely lives in his own
So
reality.
is Scott, what is he talking about? I can't see the chat.
He said
talking
he's
about
coming
going
from,
to Mo Party or?
Well, I don't know. Is he going to No Name Nationals? I don't know. Scott didn't specify. He just said I'm going from there.
Was flying in.
Heaven's
coming in
Mopars.
from.
Dizzy said he's got a house with 4 acres in Paris, Tennessee. Paris is about 30 miles north of I-40 on the exit 126 goes up to Paris. You go through Camden, you come out in Paris about 15 miles later. A couple hours from the tracks, what that is. Let's see here. I got to look that up now because I had no idea. He was born in Connecticut.
So are you going to be excited on Wednesday?
Yes, I'm going to be working over there all day on Wednesday.
Well, I'll probably come in on Thursday and just drop the car off, and then I'll help you guys with whatever you need.
His Ralph Nader, his parents were immigrants from Lebanon, the country of Lebanon. I was going to say they would have probably burned that guy at the stake if he was from Lebanon, Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee guys that can tolerate that nonsense.
No. Well, maybe Nashville today. Today's Nashville.
Yeah.
Max Wedge, Dick Dastardly, you can come spectate. Dizzy rents it to his niece and family. Yeah, that's cool. The Dust Devil's driving this one. He'll be back. No Danny Boyd, country of Lebanon. Had to look though. That kind of wigged me out a bit. Yeah, Ralph Nader had some nutty stuff to say. I actually heard him speak at Virginia Tech when he was running for president. I guess that would have been the year 2000. I heard that.
Yeah, it's about then. He still has nutty stuff to say. I just seen a couple things he was saying recently.
Yeah. Well, he died. I mean, he died in what?
It's a few years ago.
Not that long, yeah.
And still talk about his shenanigans.
Man, I guess he is still alive. I thought it was him that died. Must have been somebody else.
I think you're thinking of the Queen.
No, not the Queen. I was
No,
thinking
that's what I'm saying. I thought Nader was.
Is that too soon?
He's chairman on a committee right now.
I thought he'd croaked a couple of years ago. I guess I was wrong. Max Wedge may catch a plane if possible. Yeah, man. There'll be plenty of people probably could help give you a ride or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Dizzy, you know what? Technically, no. I mean, you can park in the spectator parking, but there's not really a show per se. You can park over in the spectator parking, but here's the deal, Dizzy. You need 145 subs. You can do this.
Yep, that's one good short away.
Make 5 shorts a day. If you make that content, you're going to get there. Make 5 shorts a day and do it.
Yeah, and focus on your keywords. Look at things that are popular and figure out a way that you can incorporate that in your title.
Dizzy, I'm telling you, you title your shorts and you do them right, and you're going to get this.
Yeah, 100 is not a big deal.
You're 2/3 of the way. You can do it. You're 356 subscribers. So if any of you are not yet subscribed to Dizzy Izzy, he's at 356. See his Valiant? I want to see that on the track at Sykeston.
Yeah, that's easily attainable in 2 weeks.
It can absolutely be done, and Sam knows how to do it.
That's it. I said that one short I had, I got 1,000 subs off of it, and that short was a month old, and just somehow, like I said, we had that heat wave, and everybody must have been searching for AC, and they found that. It was dumb luck.
Idiocracy, you're right. Once you get a political position change, yeah, it does change people. I know. I've known people. I've seen it change them.
Yeah.
I get the idea of being a statesman, but man, we're just so far past that one person making a difference time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not even, I guess, anymore. You can't hardly even talk about it with anybody. I just try to let it go, handle it myself.
Well, yeah, exactly. But here's the thing. I also don't care. I mean, some people are so afraid of it, and I'm just like, no, it's not a sacred cow, but it's,
No, I mean,
get into it.
Our founders were smart enough. I mean, no matter what idiots on which side are in charge, our founders were smart enough to leave fail-safe in our system. It's worked for this long for a reason. Yeah, just either one, no matter who it is, the other one's always, the sky is falling.
But it is getting polluted really badly. Like, one of the things our Constitution provides for 3 co-equal branches of government. And yet what we're watching is that the people that run the parties, what they want to do is they want to take over the judicial branch. They want to take over the executive branch. And what you wind up with is you don't any longer have 3 co-equal branches. That's not how it works.
I understand. Yeah, I understand that. But
the fail-safes that have worked for us for over 250 years, now they're struggling.
They're struggling. But, I mean, we should have a little bit of relief here in November. So, like I said, that's one thing. When the pendulum swings, it usually swings back hard the other way. That's just the only thing.
That's awesome. He's got a big show, and crew's going to make him. Yes, do it, man, do it. And I'll tell you what, if you want, I can help you title them, because that title makes all the difference in the world. Go to the car show, and they would do a 15-second short of every car. That's what Cement Surfer did. He did a short of every car that drove in. You can do that. You can get there.
Oh, yeah, and those will do good. Just having that model year and that in it with it in the description, the make and model, and people looking for that car, they'll find it.
I'm telling you. Put the full make and model spelled correctly, year, make, and model of everything in that clip you take. Like if it's a 1965 Plymouth Belvedere, put 1965 Plymouth Belvedere in the title.
Bonus if you find it with a Hemi, because the word Hemi in the title is going to help.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, John.
We want you to get there. Yes, sir.
We have a video on our channel, and I actually posted the title to it, and it's actually a really rare car. It's a 70.5 Ford Falcon, and it's a factory 429 Super Cobra Jet 4-speed car that this family bought it brand new. Well, when I posted the video, I made a typo on it and put a 428 Super Cobra jet.
Mm-hmm.
And it has got like a 250,000 views or something like that because of my mistake typing it out. And I was actually going to go back and fix it, but all the Ford guys was arguing over my typo, and it was so humorous I just left it the way it was.
You know what I think. You know what I think I'd like. I got an idea for a short that will be pretty good. I might just try it. It's kind of completely trolling the people to make them click. I think I'll try it. Some people will complain, but you'll see what I'm gonna try it. Y'all will see it when you see it.
I seen one video where a guy he named his tractor Donald Trump. So
that
in
was
the title,
Mike. That was Big Mike Hoopty.
Yeah.
That car I said is a 70 Falcon, and it literally says Phantom Falcon on the door. And half the comments on that video are telling me that it's a Torino. And I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Internet experts.
Yeah.
4.5 years.
Max? Welcome for coming by. Welcome to the chat. Thank you, man. Dizzy's at 356. He needs 144. Dizzy, hammer those shorts out. You can do it. I'm telling you. You can get up over 400. We can probably help whittle and push and pull and try to get those last ones, but you gotta help us. We can't pull 144 out of a hat for you, but we can probably help with some of that for sure.
Yeah, I spotted a pink 4-door 57 Chevy today. I turned around because I was going to make a video on it. I whipped around, but he was gone by the time the traffic come through. That thing was hot pink.
There is something I really wish I could have gotten video from when I was on my way to Tennessee here last weekend. I saw this sitting on the side of the highway on I-40 going by, and I didn't know what it was till I got to it. Some guy had tried to load a Pontiac Grand Am onto this little teeny tiny trailer the size of a log splitter trailer. and they had ratchet strapped it onto this. The trailer couldn't have been 3-4 feet wide at the most. And it was maybe 5 or 6 feet long, maybe. And they had ratchet strapped it to this thing. And it didn't, I don't know what it did on the hitch ball end, but I know the car slid off the right side. So they had gone to the side of the road. The car was on the right-hand side. The trailer was stuck up under it. And obviously it just couldn't go down the road anymore. It looked like he had stopped it before it caused a wreck. This guy was going down the interstate like that. Man, I'd love to have filmed this thing going down the road, right? But the trailer was disconnected from the car, and there was a truck up about 50 feet in front of it. I assumed it was pulling. I thought, man, that's great. I didn't know how I could get back to it, but I would love to film that. Problem with it is the people in the truck would not have liked you standing there on the side of the highway saying, man, look at this. You know?
Look at this idiot.
If the truck hadn't been there, which the truck probably, if it wasn't for a VIN number on the car, probably wouldn't have stopped, right? I would love to have gone back and filmed it.
They're like, what in inbred? I can see the title of that one, John.
Heavens Mopars, I agree. Look at Buck Does It, James and James. Those are good examples. Look at Cement Surfer. Those are good examples. Needs to be your content.
Yep, Izzy just gets out there, man. There's plenty. Just even go ride around and look for odd things in traffic and make videos of.
Well, look at Destroyer 1320 doing the unaware street racing.
Yeah.
Man, there's content all around. If you're a content creator, you never run out of stuff to create content about.
You see it everywhere.
It's everywhere. You can't live long enough to make content out of all the stuff in life.
I never think about the stuff till after the opportunity's over with. I went to a speed shop today in Dayton, Ohio, and never filmed a thing.
You'll get better at it. You'll get catching it more. You'll start to think more and more about what can I video. You'll get it.
They even tried to get me to go in the back and check out a 68 Charger that had a rotisserie restoration done on it. Triple black Hemi 5-speed 68 Charger.
Yep, that would have made a good short.
Yeah, I didn't even go back and look at it.
There's a lot of really interesting stuff out there. Just limitless amount of stuff to make content over. Limitless amount. And some of us think about all the content we didn't film. See, Dakota can film all kinds of stuff. He's 18 years old. I think of some of the best stuff that never got filmed. It just kills me to think.
Yeah, all that young and stupid years.
I mean, let me tell you, if I had all four wheels in the air on a rental Ford Taurus today, you better believe I'd be filming it.
Yeah, that's like the kids next door. They was telling me, they said, well, they was jumping off the porch roof into the swimming pool. I'm like, and you guys didn't film it? That was my first thought. You didn't film that?
You didn't film things back then. It just wasn't a thing.
Well, we didn't have cameras in our pocket either.
We didn't have cell phones until later.
Yeah, that's the thing with it. It took me a long time.
The only time I've ever had the forethought to film anything was I was in an old abandoned junkyard that barely operates still. And I mean, there's so much stuff growed up around it, and they keep cattle in there. And I seen two cows going to fight. So I thought I was going to take my phone out and film it. And then one of the cows ran after me and chased me around the junkyard. And
I hope somebody filmed it.
That's my experience with forethought of filming something.
hey, Dust Devil, for what it's worth, I got something you can borrow for the NNN if you need it. I have a 727 Duster length drive shaft. I don't know what the rear U-joint it takes is. I think it's the small joint, but I'm not 100% sure. If you need to borrow that drive shaft, you can. It is the original that came with the car, so I'd want to put it back in, but you're certainly welcome to borrow it from No Name Nationals. Happy to bring it if it's something that you can use. And it's not like a hard to find piece, but I know that you're needing one. And this is the 108-inch wheelbase drive shaft. Yeah, you got to watch parking in the field of cows. Cows will all come out while you're gone and lick the paint off your truck. I know that. I don't know why they do it, but I guess if you're a cow, that's the most exciting thing that happens in your life. LP94, yes, I agree. Some people can't handle the bottom 1%, but we can. We don't have them on here. They don't come here.
Remember one of them cringe things one time, my daughter, she was about 3 years old, and she was looking at the cows, and I realized she was feeding them her hamburger. And I was like, oh, ooh, man, you just fed them their cousin.
That's twisted.
I didn't notice what she was doing. I realized, I'm like, oh, man, you're feeding them cows.
That's some Hannibal Lecter stuff there.
She didn't know any better, to be fair, but...
Hey, everybody likes cheeseburgers.
Mm-hmm. Them cows sure did that day. This tastes like Fred. Oh, no, it is Fred. What have I done? But it was yummy, though.
Can't believe we still have 26 people in here hanging out at 12:30 Eastern on a Friday. That's really something else.
Yeah, and I got to go to work tomorrow.
Wow. Dust Devil says, will that work with an 8 3/4 rear end? Yeah, this is an 8 3/4 rear end in the car. But I can't remember if it's the 72, 60, or 90 U joint. I think it's the 60. So I'll go out and look tomorrow, no problem. Or today. I can go out and look. No big deal. You're welcome to borrow it if you need it. But like I said, it's the one that came with the car, so I would like to get it back. Dakota says, I like live streams better than TV. Yeah, me too. I have actually not had a functioning TV since 2015. And I don't miss it at all.
There's not really much on anyway.
It's a sewer. Every time I'm somewhere where I watch a TV like somebody else's, and it's just some ridiculous game show, it is just the most absurd, shoving leftist down your throat, disgusting, all of it. I'm like, nope, this is why I don't watch TV.
Well, that's the same way with Motor Trend. After probably last year, I don't think I've watched it. I just finally quit paying for it. I'm like, I don't even know why I'm paying for it. I quit watching it last year when Roadkill started doing high dollar builds. It's like, yeah.
That was really cool when they started, and I guess it was just the money that corrupted it, I guess.
Yeah, it always does.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you something. That is something that we saw could have happened really, really fast for No Name Nationals, and I was not going to let that happen. Dust Devil, one drive shaft is a half, one U joint, one yoke is a half-inch wider than the other, and I can't remember off the top of my head. I think one is 2 5/8, but I can't remember if the other's larger or smaller. I just have to look at it. I'll tell you tomorrow, but I don't know the measurement on the length of the drive shaft. No, I do not. I just know this came out this is a factory 340 drive shaft for a factory 340 73 Dart Sport, 727 8 3/4. Oh, and that's important to mention. No, it isn't the factory drive shaft. This is the one that went to an 8 3/4 that came out of an 8 3/4 car, like a 70 71, because that car would have originally had an 8 1/4 in it. So no, it isn't the factory, but it is the drive shaft it raced with. It's the drive shaft that's been in it since 1982. Yeah, Dizzy, hey, you know what? Dizzy is offering Brian to ride along to the salvage. Y'all go get the collaborate. That might help Dizzy get his subs.
Well, I've been where you been, Buff.
Yeah.
You definitely got some wiring there. You got your TAC module in already for the throttle?
So I got the wiring ran.
Okay.
And the module, it's around here somewhere. I pulled it out of the truck, so I know it's here somewhere.
Yeah, that'll all work.
So yeah, the drive-by-wire, I've got it ran.
You're going to do drive-by-wire?
Yep.
Yeah, that's the ECM he has. That ECM he has doesn't even have an IAC control in it. So you pretty much, with that computer, you're stuck with drive-by-wire.
Even though it's dirty, I got the original pedal for the car, but it is flawless. So this part was rusted out, and a gentleman, one of the subscribers I have out of Arizona, just sent me one. He said,
nice.
I said he knew I needed it, so he sent it to me, and he's been awesome. So of course I got to take care of him on the back end, but I'm going to modify this pedal to work with the drive-by-wire.
Yeah, that'll be pretty simple.
I watched the guy that you recommended about where he cuts his pedals and stuff.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do that.
Yeah, that Matt Happel at Sloppy Mechanics. He's pretty much. I wouldn't have a turbo car if it wasn't for him. He's the one that said, "Don't worry about stuff and just put it together and run it."
That's pretty much where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
What we say? This is the plier time.
This is pliers o'clock is what you call it.
That's what it is. Pliers o'clock.
Andy Wood and I started that. It's like when you get so late in the game, you don't even care if you have the right size wrench. It's just pliers o'clock.
Just grab it. That's it. If you miss any wires you didn't need to take out at this point, Bob, just wrap it all in electrical tape and send it. Clean it out later.
Pliers o'clock is when you're just trying to get it out the door. You're out of time.
That's what you guys just watched. Is I took all the transmission wiring that I thought I purged, but apparently I didn't purge it off the green side. And,
see, I left all mine on there and just taped it up. That way, if I wanted to run at 80, I had the option when I did my harness. I just zip tied it to the top of that 350 turbo tranny.
Yeah, there's no way an 80 will fit in this. But I did just get a 454 4L80 combo out of a 98.
I seen that.
Yeah, dude basically gave it away.
What's up, Ryan?
Hard part's going to be hiding all this.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're going to leave the factory box and stuff,
No.
and the fuse box and stuff for now.
The hard part is getting it B&R approved.
Oh, it's long past not approved. we know that. We know that already.
That ship sailed the minute you got it, right?
Basically, whenever I grabbed a sledgehammer.
As long as it fires up and runs, that's all that matters. So you work out the details later.
I can hit it with a sledge. No, it's not going to run tonight because I don't have fuel. And I just realized I built this awesome little fuse box, but I don't have this style of fuse. I have 1 out of 4.
Streetcar Chronicles is saying, getting ready for bed. He's got a ton of football and Malibu in his life tomorrow.
I don't know
Well,
the
good, man.
foosball. Foosball?
Yeah, sports ball or something. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to hit the ball into the net and then get a home run.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Hey, Ryan, this is just for you. Oh, look, I have a nice fresh carburetor that Andy rebuilt me, and I can just set it on my intake and fire it up and run, just like you, right? Right? I'm just being so cruel to Ron right now. I can't.
See, when I did my LS swap the first time, I got all together like that and all wired up. When I first keyed it on, I had a stuck injector with no exhaust on it, so I set the car on fire when it lit. I had to run out to my race car in the driveway and grab the fire extinguisher out of it and run back in and put the fire back out. Then redo all the wiring.
There you go.
Because it melted everything on the driver's side.
There you go, Buff. I made fans with Ryan there.
Did you?
Ryan's a good dude. He's going to get all that figured out. It's going to be great. But see, I give him a hard time because I'm one of these Aztec people that likes breaker points and carburetors.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Oh, I would love to have that right now.
Yeah, and so any time I could give somebody a hard time for modern stuff, I try to do it.
You can't beat the simplicity. I agree with that.
I would have had this thing running a week ago, but not driving because I got the original radiator, but it's not going to work.
Yeah, man, everything's going to be fine. You bet it is. Oh, yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
I think this radiator's heavier than the engine. Apparently it fell out of the trunk and the old man I bought it from snatched it up.
What is it with people that like to handle radiator? You ever see these guys will handle a radiator that's just have no concern for the fins?
Oh,
and they'll
right.
just throw something on it and just smash like 8 square inches down, right? You know what I'm talking about? There's guys that do that stuff all the time.
This one has definitely seen better days.
That one's not too bad.
A little bit of solder fix that right up.
That one actually looks better than the one in my Dart.
The ones in the corner are soldered, but the other one hasn't been.
Later
and
on,
the guy goes, "Oh, you can use it," and I was like, "Nah, I got another one coming."
What are you going to do for your steam ports on that?
Yeah, there you go.
What I just drill a 1/8 hole in the top of the water pump there and just run it right off of your front 2 steam ports down to the water pump, and don't run it through the throttle body because you're not going to ice it up. You don't need to heat that throttle body up.
No. Believe it or not, even though I'm a caveman, I have done an LS swap before in a 3rd gen Camaro, and I learned the hard way about the water crossover. And that thing is incredibly hard to bleed if you do it wrong. Getting that air
drill a
out.
couple holes in the holes in the thermostat, and it fixes that problem.
Yeah. I figured some of these things out with that car, as we went. But great engine, make a ton of power. But it was a tight fit getting it in around the air conditioning in the car, around the evaporator box, and
that's
also
issue in all them cars.
It's so tight on the front cross member, I had to move the brake line to the front side of the cross member. It's that tight. So there's places it fits tight, but man, it sure does run good. Runs really good. It's got a I went out and this was before, this swap I did was before kits were a thing, right? This was 20 years ago. So the header on one side is a 4-into-1 that sweeps back. And the header on the other side is a street rod header that comes down in the center. 2 different kinds of headers, but that's what made it fit. That's what worked.
Oh, that sloppy mechanic that Matt Happel I sent him to, he literally built a motor with 2 different cylinder heads on it, and that thing made 600 wheel.
Yeah.
He had 2 different style. He had a truck cylinder head on the one side and a Corvette cylinder head on the other side.
People have done all kind of crazy mismatches that work better than people would think.
Well, it's because.
Like you ever know that some of these guys have cheated their displacement sizes in racing for years because they know the tech inspector is going to pump and gauge number 1 cylinder every time.
Yep.
So what they do is that 2 through 8 are all bored bigger. Richard Petty got caught running a 384-inch engine one time in NASCAR because number 1, you couldn't really even see it with your eye, but number 1 measured right.
Yeah.
And 2 through 8 were all bigger.
Yeah, it's fine. It's
now I don't know how well they get away with it if they tried offset grinding the crank on you couldn't do it on 2 cylinders. They'd have to be the same. I can't even imagine trying to step the middle of a crank journal. But let's say you tried to do an offset grind on 3 of your journals for 6 of your cylinders. I don't know if you'd ever get that balance. I don't know if anybody's ever tried that.
Yeah, that sounds like a balance nightmare.
But see, if you did, the guy that goes and takes like a snap gauge and checks your bore, that would fool him.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it's probably been tried. I don't know how well it worked, but it's probably been tried. There's enough money in the big racing that someone's tried it.
Yep. My buddy Robert, I'm telling you what, he figured out all kinds of creative cheats in the day. All kinds of them. Fascinating working with him.
Yeah, well, we learned that years ago with Demolition Derby. You don't read the rules of what it says you have to do. You read what it says you can't. Look at whatever it tells you not to do and just go around it. Doesn't say what you can't do. It's just saying what you have to do.
Yeah. Well, the rule book is it's for you to figure out and innovate around it, and I'm all for that.
Yeah, I'm
not into theft, but innovating around the rule book is no problem with.
No, that's kind of what's killed NASCAR now, that they're all same car with a sticker package.
No. Yeah, it's ruined.
Yeah. And NHRA is following them down the same path.
They are. They absolutely are. It's funny. So, and occasionally, on rare occasion, I've seen him float around the chat. Monday Morning Racer, if you see him, he co-hosts a show with Sam, Competition Plus, and they worship NHRA for 2 hours every Tuesday. And they have like reigning top fuel champions. They have, you know what? They have the brass of the NHRA. And those guys, they'll have like maximum ordnance. Like most people watching at one time will be 50. We had close to that on this live we fired up.
Yep.
Yeah.
People don't turn out for that. They don't want to hear how some guy with his $10 million top fueler, you know, that looks exactly like everybody else's $10 million top. They just don't care.
It's unattainable for the regular guy.
You know what? I even said to those guys one time, I emailed Sam and I said to Lee, I said, dude, why don't you have like Dallas Brown from AHRA on there and at least get our audience in there? They don't even, couldn't care less. Doesn't mean a thing to them.
Okay, I had like 46 on the Pontiac Power Hour, and that was only a third episode.
Pontiac Power Hour puts their show to shame. But that's because Pontiac Power Hour is a show worth watching. It's a good show. It's just, you know, and
we're trying.
And they have that same formula, the same jockey drivers talking about the same. And I hate that. I wish they'd get away from that because they're personable hosts, and they could do so much more. And I don't know why they do that, but that's the thing about the No Name Nationals. We don't have any of those crazy constraints. None of them.
Hey, John. I work for a guy that owns a top fuel team.
Yeah.
And they cater to corporate money.
They do.
And that's all they're interested in. The guy I work for, he's a private owner. You know, and he hardly, you know, when he drove, he hardly got any camera time whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, on that show, on that Competition Plus show, and I don't try to troll them too hard. I do a little bit when they say something really ridiculous, but I was on Destroyer 1320 show, and Lee was in the chat, and I said, hey, Lee, you get to heckle me for once, right? Because they were in there talking on Tuesday about the hospitality tent and how great it is. I'm like, you realize you're talking about the hospitality tent. Nobody in that chat is allowed in that tent.
Nope.
Right? Like, why are you even telling everybody about this great thing that nobody's allowed in? It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I think it's almost insulting your audience to tell them how great the hospitality tent is when none of them are allowed in there.
And probably never will be.
And probably never will be. You're exactly right.
There's nothing wrong with saying, you know, how great it was to have, you know, the VIP treatment or whatever, but don't go talking about it like some of these people are ever going to see that, because most of them will never have the opportunity.
They just don't know who their audience is. They're talking about what this great thing it is for the sponsors. Okay, great. Talk about it when you go pitch this to the sponsors. But to sit here and do it on a live for all your people who are coming out and supporting you and then ignoring the chat the whole time you have the guest on, that's not okay.
Well, it's like all the hate NHRA threw, you know, with Street Outlaws when it first come out, you know, and all the hate they throw at no prep racing, you know. I mean, that's caused a revival of drag racing somewhat in the country is with the no prep stuff. I mean, those shows are getting bigger and bigger every weekend, and there's some big money shows out there. And the everyday guy still has a chance to throw something together and win on that surface.
You know, though, what they don't realize they're doing, Dallas bought the AHRA and started the revitalization of that sanctioning body because NHRA would not allow him to run his T-Bird in a class that allows delay boxes.
Yeah, because he didn't have it.
He didn't have one, and he said it just says if I'm going to run one, I have to run this one, but it doesn't say I have to run one. They said, well, those other drivers don't know how to run against you. He said, that's their problem, not mine. Y'all, you told me is I got to run a 990, and that's what I'm going to do. And he did, and they hated it. And you know what? That right there is what's wrong with all of it. So
yeah,
that's the thing. We are determined to not let that ruin this.
That's why this is so awesome, because it's the opposite of that.
It is. It is the opposite of that. And we've had people already trying to ruin it, you know, trying to tell us you need this, you need that. No.
No, this is the creators.
What I figure will happen is that we're going to have the people who want to show up will show up this year. And then next year, all those people who want to show up will want to come back, and their channels will only be bigger and better next year. And they'll have more people want to show up and turn out next year because they didn't make it this year. Everything I see has growth written on it for this event. But it's only going to be smart growth. It's not going to be stupid.
You just join. Well, you're an everyday person, so you remember where you come from. As long as you don't lose sight of that, this is it. It's everybody. We're all just common guys out here with what we got, working with what we have, and making it work.
There's nothing wrong with chasing some money, but at the same time, like you said, don't forget where you came from.
Nope.
I've had money, and I've not had money. I'm closer to the not having money right now, but I definitely like this better than when I had money.
I told we had a meeting with a prospective sponsor for the No Name Nationals, and this is exactly what I said. I said the soul of the No Name Nationals is not for sale. I said any sponsor is not going to get creative input. Okay,
nice.
So you know that going in, that. You don't get creative input. So in other words, you either trust what we're doing and you want to be part, and if we can see that you get it and you're a member of our community, sure, we don't at all mind getting ideas of yours and bringing you in as it merits. Fine, because we've done that with Buzz. We've done that with Eric. But see, we've told both of them that you guys cannot purchase creative input. That way, no sponsor has the opportunity to ruin the event. Can't do it. It's not allowed. Tell them that right up front. And Buzz and Destroyer 1320, they were fine with that because they trusted what Dallas and I are doing. And because they're legitimate members of the community, we certainly went to them and say, hey, what are your ideas about this? And want to involve them in that way. But see, people who go ahead and give sponsors all this creative input, the sponsor says, okay, what does the balance sheet say is the thing to do here? And it just starts ruining the event. Just starts ruining. Because they take the money first and they wrap the event around it. We never did that. We're not going to do that.
Well, just the uniqueness. This is a national event, and most of the participants have never even been down the track. So I mean, it's
exactly
awesome.
Oh, that's the best part about it.
Yeah.
Now that ratio will drop next year because all these people this year will have been down the track. So it probably won't be anywhere near as high percentage next year. But we probably will have as many new people that haven't been down a track next year. So the percentage will drop, but the overall number will probably stay the same. That'd be my guess.
No, it's just going to improve because people's going to get a taste of it this year. Then they're going to want to come back faster next year.
So the thing is that, like I said, all we want to do this year, we just want to cover the bills. That's all we want to do. Okay. We just want to cover the bills. And if there's anything left over, it can stay in the No Name Nationals bank account to seed next year. And that just, again, goes right to making a better event for you guys. But this year, there's so much startup expense that, you got to spend up front. Like, for instance, we're going to spend probably a total of about $5,000, even with thrift, on signage. And that's even cutting some deals in there, right?
That's pretty cheap. Yeah, that's not bad at all.
That's thrifty. That's thrifty. But the thing is next year we'll probably not spend but about $1,000.
Yeah.
Because
well, that initial
we got an
always going to
economic
cost
life, and yeah. So there's some things like that we've done. But why are we spending that much? Because we want this place to really look like the national event venue that you would expect, and that's what we're doing, and it does.
Next year, you guys will have a better idea of what works and what doesn't work, so that'll go for helping save some money. You'll know where you need to spend the money and where you can save the money.
Let me tell you, that sign that you're going to have under the front end of your car with the front wheels in the air that says AHRA No Name Nationals on the guard wall, that really nice, shiny, dye-bond, 12-foot long sign, the height of the guard wall, that sign is $500 a piece, just that one sign. But you know what? That's the sign that you want photographed with your car with the front tires in the air, right?
Yep.
because you want that sign and we want you to have it. Dakota, hopefully everybody will go down the track. We hope everybody participate and will go down the track. Why not? There's no downside to just jumping in the bracket or, gosh, for all that matters, we're going to have the opportunity. If you just want to just make a test and tune pass, just come get in the lanes and go down the track. It's nothing. There's no reason people have to even worry about it. If you're afraid of breaking, say you bring a really nice show car out, you don't want to break something, just go up, take the tree, and drive to the other end like you're leaving a grocery store parking lot. Yep. It doesn't matter. Yes, Kim, it'll look great in an 8x10 front. Exactly. We want you guys to be proud of the content that comes out of this.
And I'm getting anxiety over him working at the garage. I wish he was closer to come over and help him with that wiring.
Oh, yeah.
I
wish you were too.
There's one thing that they gave me that's hard to work with, I noticed from the first time I was out there and ordered signage to the second time. Jeffers apparently has leased a spot on the fence behind the burnout area that he didn't have done on Memorial Day, but he did have done when I was out there again. I'm like, great. So now I'm working around that with one of the banners. So maybe if nobody's looking, we'll lower it a little bit or something to make it work. But everything else, we're going to be good.
All right, guys. It's like 20.
We got a 20-foot banner, a welcome banner, just to drive under to get on the property.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, because it's important that everybody know that they're in the right place. They made it.
Awesome. All right, guys. It's about 1 o'clock here. I got stuff to do tomorrow. I'm going to jump off. Thanks for having me, John.
Thanks for being on, man. Appreciate it.
I wish I could help with the wiring. See you later, Brewer. See everybody,
yep,
man.
Take
See
care,
you later,
man.
Josh. Yep. Everybody in the chat. Thanks, man. Have a good one. We'll catch you later. Good night, everybody.
You did getting Sam on. That was a nice surprise.
Yeah, he's helped me quite a bit on trying to figure out this LS stuff.
Yeah, Sam is smart. Sam knows a lot about tuning those things.
And he's bringing a backup ECU to No Name just in case I need it.
Yeah, that's cool. He's cool like that.
Yeah.
He's a community player.
That's what this community's about.
Yep.
So what is that you're working on there that's got the LF in it?
It's a 63 Pontiac Grand Prix. Whenever I dug it out of the woods, it had been sitting in the woods for about 30 years, according to the guy I got it from. And he said it probably sat longer than that because he got it from a gentleman who just needed a place to park it because the city came after him for having it parked where it was. So he's thinking it sat quite a long time. And when we pulled the mileage off of it, I think I said it was 46,000 original miles. But it sat in a tree row with the back end of it pretty much buried in the ground. So from pretty much right here, if you can see me, to there, everything's gone. The frame was rusted out. The floor's rusted out. Gas tank's rusted out. It's just all gone. But, so I looked up the date that I signed up for No Name Nationals, and I think it was 108 days from the time I signed up to when No Name Nationals is. And from the time I bought this car, got it out of the woods, to the time I hit No Name Nationals, it'll be 90 days, 92 days. So it's on full air ride. Got an LS engine, TH350 transmission, front disc brake swap with new booster, master cylinder. It's getting a new upgraded radiator, which isn't here yet. And then once I finish the wiring, put the intake on it, I got a fuel cell. One of these boxes is a fuel cell. I mean, drive shaft, and it's ready to go.
Dakota says the timepiece. Yeah. So Buff was the 100th channel. Yeah, you were. You were the 100th channel to register on June 15th at 10:34 p.m.
Yep.
There you go.
You sent it to me a while back, and I added up the hours and all that, but basically about 108 days.
Yep.
And by the time I got the car, so I signed up before I even got the car, and then I got the car, and it was like it's going to be about 92 days, I think, by the time I hit Jeffers. I was going to use the Trans Am, which is over here.
Later, Dizzy.
But the Trans Am I want to do right. So it's going to full roll cage. It's going to be an all-wheel drive. It's got a 6-liter. I'm actually going to send it to Ed's machine, and he's going to redo my 6-liter because he's just right. He's in Arkansas, so he's just right down the way.
Yeah.
But he knew immediately what was wrong with my 6-liter when I talked to him about it. And I didn't even have to explain it. He already knew. So he's getting my engine, and he's going to work it. But that's going in this car. It's going to be all-wheel drive with a cage. I don't know what it's going to do, but I want to turbo it. So I'm going to work with Punisher to put a turbo on this. And then that's my 2023 car.
That's neat, man.
But I think I need a 2-car trailer because this one has to come back next year. I've already got a guy that offered on it, and I told him no.
It's cool.
Yep. I mean, the number was ridiculous, but I mean, everything's for sale. It's just not for sale yet.
Well, we'll all be the caretakers of our stuff in our own lifetimes.
Yep. I mean, if I die off tomorrow, we know there's a buyer for it.
Oh, yeah. Gentlemen,
It's a great project. I can see you've been busy on it.
Gentlemen, I'm going to keep this live run just a couple minutes longer. Any of you guys have a question for Buff or for Brewer? This is pretty rare for me to have in mind. First of all, I don't do social lives very often at all. So to have these two guys on is pretty unusual. Brewer, have you been on a live before?
Just in the comments. You know what? I've been on a live with Ruben.
Okay. This is the first live you've been on here, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I figured if you'd let me wear my headphones and keep working, I would be on camera, and people like to look at the car. So
of course.
Yeah, the work he's got in that, he definitely don't have time to stop.
Levi says the Laguna may be missing pieces.
Oh, yeah.
We'll send them, Levi. We'll put them up on the screen if you want. Only if you want.
Because didn't he take that to LS Fest or something? I do actually watch other people's channels when the feed's not clogged up.
Levi, if I may show this, I will. You tell me. I don't even know exactly what I'm looking at. You can tell us. Dust Devils in Henderson, Kentucky. I don't even know what part of Kentucky that's in, but glad you're being safe.
Thanks, Dean.
Okay, Levi says I can show this. He says the Laguna may be missing pieces. What are we looking at here?
Ouch.
They had Friday Night Lights tonight down at Edgewater in Cincinnati. And he wadded her up. What is that?
What happened there, man? Doesn't look like that. It looks like he's got something like a jacket laying over the bezel, but the hood is all crooked. I don't know what's going on there. It's crazy looking. What happened, Levi?
One too many wheel stands, maybe.
I don't know. Dakota wants to know what's your spray painting.
Oh, give me a second.
Dust Devil's
Obviously, you can hear it.
Dust Devil's got a video dropping at 10 a.m. today. Check that out.
Yeah, you can see it.
Cool.
It has to match the coil packs.
No, man. Levi said the hood came up going down the track, bent the
Wow.
fenders, and the hood's trash. Oh, man.
That stinks.
Was that at Friday Night Lights at Edgewater?
Didn't break your windshield? Man. Sorry to hear that, man. Look on the bright side. This gives you an excuse to take the bracing off the bottom of the hood, and then you can kind of pull it back down and put some pins in it, and it'll be all right.
I've got an extra bag of pins if he needs them. I'll probably bring those with me just in case. Okay, I think I'm as far as I'm going to get tonight.
By the way, Levi, you don't have to have a hood to pass tech. Run it without a hood if you have to. But I'm going to go ahead and shut down. Buff's a good stopping place, and so am I. But, man, I've had fun having y'all in here. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me, John.
Yeah, I just thought I would fire up and start a different live after the one with Dallas. That way we don't conflate them, and that's just the way I prefer to do it. I know everybody does different things, so but I figured that we would just start a fresh one, and then people that wanted to come over for this could come over for this.
Awesome.
And I'm glad
Yeah, I
y'all did.
missed the first one.
Yeah, we had a whole different crowd. It's great. Anyway, thanks, guys. I appreciate y'all. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Alrighty. You guys take care.